What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo. It's draft day, baby. The NFL draft happening in just under an hour here. It's meant to kick off at 8 p.m. I'm super excited. How is everybody feeling tonight? What are your picks? Come on, let's get hyped in the chat. Of course, you guys know my co-host, Alex Wilson, was supposed to be here. If you didn't know, if you didn't see today's episode, birth of his child is occurring as we speak, so he is unlikely to be in the live stream. He told me that there is a slight chance he might be able to pop in for a little bit during the stream. We'll keep you posted on that. Of course, stay tuned, see if Alex pops by, but if not, you're here to hang out with me and talk NFL draft and react. So let's go ahead and get things started. How are we all feeling? What's up with everybody? Who do you think the Giants are going to draft? I just saw the news that Tom Pelissero just dropped. Apparently, the New England Patriots have made up their minds to stay at the number 3 overall pick. I'm hoping that it's a smokescreen somehow, some way. I'm hoping that the Giants are able to trade up and go ahead and get UNC quarterback Drake May. Obviously, they've been negotiating with the Patriots all freaking day long, rumor after rumor, phone call after phone call. But alas, it sounds like the Patriots are not going to budge, and it sounds like the New York Giants are not going to be able to land Drake May. But hey, we've got about an hour before then. Maybe something crazy happens. Maybe the New York Giants are able to land Drake May. I certainly hope so. But how are you guys feeling? I'm seeing a lot of wide receivers on. I'm seeing Malik Neighbors. I'm seeing Romo Dunze. I'm seeing Ethan Bell wants me to do perverted things on the internet, and I'm not allowed to do that. I'm sorry, Ethan Bell. I'm seeing incoming quarterback. Who's it going to be? J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan, possibly? It could be. I guess we'll see. We'll find out. Alex is indeed bringing another Giants fan into this world. Congrats to him. He'll be missed on this live stream, but again, he'll pop in if he can later on in the stream. But yeah, we've got about a half an hour before the draft kicks off, and it's time to chat, guys. Romo Dunze season, totally a possibility. May or JJ. I would like to see the Giants land a quarterback. I like JJ McCarthy. I know it's controversial. A lot of Giants fans are against the idea of taking JJ McCarthy in the top 10. I'm not one of those guys. I like JJ McCarthy enough to take him with the number 6 overall pick, but I'm not convinced that the Giants feel the same way as me. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and take him. Wow, we got a hot take here from H.O. JJ over May. He likes J.J. McCarthy more than Drake May. How does everybody feel about that? I don't agree with that one, though I am very high on J.J. I actually prefer J.J. to Jaden Daniels. I would have him ranked over Daniels if I was a GM, but I'm not. So I like Caleb, then I like Drake, then I like J.J., then I like Jaden. For Lonzo with a few options here. Malik Neighbors, possibly. J.J. McCarthy, also possibly. Or moving back and getting a cornerback. So last night, if you guys didn't tune in, we had the pre-draft live stream, the Draft Eve live stream with my friends Will and Allie. And we did do a mock draft. In that mock draft, we traded down to, I believe it was pick 14, and we selected a cornerback, Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. We also picked up an extra second-round pick, landed Chris Jenkins and Xavier Legette. Pretty solid mock draft in my opinion, but those who were here last night didn't seem to rock with it, did not like that mock draft. But I agree with you, Fernando. I think that the Giants trading down and taking a cornerback, if the guys that they like aren't on the board, I think it's a possibility. We'll see if it happens. I think that they are really trying to trade up, though. Hopefully they'll be able to make it happen. Gavin wants Marvin Harrison Jr., don't we all? But it sounds like the Arizona Cardinals have also made up their minds, similarly to how the New England Patriots have made up their minds, and they're going to be taking, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4. So, but hey, if he doesn't go number 4, let's say a quarterback goes number 4, it's possible that at 5, the Chargers take a line and pass on him. Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. does fall into the Giants' lap at number 6. I'm not going to completely rule it out, though I think we all have to admit it is highly unlikely. Sean says he wants to see the Giants stay put at 6, let the draft fall to them. You can make the argument that that is the best case scenario for the Giants. You just stay there at 6 and you hope that the guy you like falls into your lap, or you take the best player available. The Giants picking at 6, they can't really lose. They're going to get a great player, right? They're going to get some sort of top blue chip prospect, whether you're talking about one of the quarterbacks or a wide receiver, or if you're trading down. If you let the draft come to you at number 6, you're probably going to be a happy man at the end of the day. So I do agree with you, Sean. The Giants should be patient. I'd like to see them trade up for a QB, but if they can't, sticking and picking at 6 is definitely a solid option. So hyped for tonight. I'll be here the entire first round or until you are done streaming, Anthony. Thank you. Adrian, appreciate that. It's great to see you in here. And I'm super hyped too. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, I'm going to be streaming for a long time. We're just settling in right now. First 5 minutes down. We've got plenty more 5-minute increments to go. I'm going to try and stream for the whole first round if I can. But unfortunately, I might get burnt out before then. But stay tuned. We'll see. Trade back with the Vikings, draft Mitchell at 11 and the best wide receiver at 23. Which Mitchell is? Oh, Quinyon Mitchell, I would assume, the cornerback out of Toledo. So I would prefer Terrion Arnold. I like him better. I know that's not consensus. A lot of people like Quinyon Mitchell the best, but I like the Alabama products in the secondary. I feel like they'll all pan out. But I do like the idea of trading back and taking a corner with one of those first-round picks and a wide receiver with another. I just don't think that the Giants are going to trade down with the Vikings. I feel like that quarterback debate there, the Vikings, if they want to take a QB, they're going to trade with the Chargers, who Chargers are reportedly trying actively to trade down. They're trying to sell that pick. So I think that's where the trade would happen. Yeah, so I saw something that Arizona is just taking Marvin Harrison. I don't know where it came from. I don't remember. I'd have to pull up the source. And I don't know what's true and what's not right now with the draft still 20 minutes away. But I did read that they are firmly in on Marvin Harrison and are maybe not going to try and trade down unless they know they could still get Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Ruggiero is against trading down. Listen, I think you can make that argument. When you're picking at 6, you've got a blue chip prospect available to you for sure, so might as well take it. Reporting in from Gillette Stadium at the Patriots draft party. Let's go Giants. Interesting. How did you end up behind enemy lines? Could you imagine being there and at the Patriots draft party if they were to trade down with the Giants? Now that would be a whole lot of fun. Davin thinks quarterbacks are going to fly off the board 1 through 5. I don't think that's going to happen, but the record, it's been tied a few times, is picks 1, 2, 3 all being QBs. Very strong chance that it gets broken tonight with quarterbacks going off the board 1, 2, 3, 4. Not for certain, but totally possible. So what are you guys thinking with rounds 2 through 7? Like, how do you think you want the Giants to kind of attack this whole thing? QB in the first, maybe wide receiver in the first. How do you think that the Giants should kind of scope out this entire draft? Curious to see. I'm just going to react. I'm going to have the draft playing on my monitor right here, and I'm going to be watching it, and I'm going to be live reacting to it. I'm not allowed to play the draft on the screen because I'll get copyrighted, and the stream will get taken down, unfortunately, through YouTube's rules and everything like that. So can't play the draft, but I will be reacting to the draft. So I'm excited. We got 20 minutes till it starts. If Joe Shane takes Penix at 6, he's got to go. I do agree with you. I'm not high on Penix at 6. I don't think that would be a smart move. I'm not saying that Shane has to go for that. Maybe Penix steps in and becomes a star. It's totally possible, but I don't think that's good value. I really don't buy the rumors of Penix going in the top 10. I know that there's a little bit of smoke surrounding that right now. Don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to land outside of the top 10. We just draft round 1 and select randomly after that. I think, the Giants are going to, I don't think they're going to go on auto pick after round 1, but they've probably got a position or two in mind for round 1, and then they're just going to fill out best player available for the rest of the draft. That's possible. Running back no earlier than the 4th, but there are some good running backs in rounds 2, 3. There's some pretty good players. If you want to keep in mind, guys like Trey Benson should be in the 3rd round. I like him a whole lot. Wide receiver, quarterback, and secondary. I think that those are the 3 most likely places that the Giants end up going. I think that you could see them go trade up for a QB, maybe stick and pick. I think the playmaker at 6 is very possible. And, of course, cornerbacks and safeties also possible for the New York Giants. Safety, not so much in the 1st round, but in the middle rounds for sure. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to go early day 3. Coming off of that ACL tear, it's kind of hard to project him going early in this draft. So here we are, less than 20 minutes until the draft, and the New York Giants have been trying to trade up this entire day from everything that we've heard. We're going to bring on today, since Alex can't be here for the entire stream, we're going to be bringing on panels of guests today, and we're about to bring on our first guest. He was on the live stream last night, Will from Fireside Rangers. He'll be on here in just a second. I think there's a great chance that Bowers goes number 10 to the New York Jets, and if not, around the 10 to 15 range. It also does sound like the Los Angeles Rams might be trying to trade up for Brock Bowers, and I could see that happening if he wants to move up to about pick number 8. The Los Angeles Rams want to do that and go Brock Bowers. I mean, think about that Rams offense. If Sean McVay gets his hands on Bowers, that would be pretty exciting to see. So I think that's totally possible. My thoughts on Drake May are that there is a lot of boom or bust to his game that people describe. They've said that he could be a little bit of a boom or bust product. There are definitely flaws in his game, but the upside is so tremendous with Drake May. The potential is so high with him that if you have an opportunity to draft a quarterback with that much potential, you have to jump at the opportunity. I love Drake May. I think he's absolutely worthy of a top 3 draft pick. And I think that if the New York Giants were able to get him in an offense with Brian Daboll, I think Daboll would have a very fun time coaching him and could absolutely get the most out of him. He is going to need a little bit of time to develop for sure. I don't think that he is a ready-made product like maybe some other prospects are in this draft class, but Drake May's potential is sky high. And so if you have the opportunity to draft him, I think you absolutely do need to do it. I think there are going to be some trades in the top 5. I think there's going to be at least one in the top 5. I'm hoping it's the Giants moving up to number 3, but, you know, it sounds like that's probably not going to happen now, but we will see. I would love to get Alex's raw emotions on the live stream. Hopefully he's able to pop in after the pick is made and give us his reactions, but we'll see. We will see. Definitely a little weird without Alex. I wish he was here, but, you know, he'll try and pop in. I do also compare Drake May to Josh Allen. I think he's very similar. I also don't see the Giants coaching staff ruining a quarterback. I think that the Giants would go ahead and get him under Brian Daboll's wing and develop that player quite nicely. We've got our first guest for the panel in here. I'm going to join him into the stream in just a second. I miss Alex too. Thank you, Joseph. Much appreciated. We're trying our best here to keep the content going for you guys and provide you with a really good stream. But let's go ahead and bring in first. Actually, I'm going to respond to this. RSG NATO, no way. No way Dallas Turner at 6. The Giants cannot go pass rusher here after trading for Brian Burns. Joey DeMush, Alex is at the hospital. His wife is giving birth, but he's going to try and pop in at some point during this live stream. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in our first guest of the stream today. It's going to be Will Cohen from Fireside Rangers, also big Giants fan, gave some great analysis on the Giants last night in our pre-draft live stream. Will, how are you doing today, my friend? Are you hyped up for the draft?
I have a knot in my stomach right now. I can't lie. I'd be lying if I say I wasn't nervous. So I'm very nervous right now. I just sent you a text, actually. Someone said they got a text. I don't know, but
yeah, there's going to be a bunch of rumors flying around all night. Who knows what's going to happen? You know, we're going to hear stuff that's real, stuff that's fake, but we know for a fact now that the Giants have been trying to trade up today. You know, I'm sure that you're pretty excited about that. I know last night in the live stream, you said that that's what you wanted to see happen. Sounds like it almost happened, and now it's not going to happen. So
yeah, I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but I am like, that's my hope right now. Is I know Pretty Ricky today said that the Patriots were either going to trade back or take JJ McCarthy at 3. I don't know how credible that is. Obviously, he did break. I mean, I know he's credible, but I'm trying not to get my hope. As they just showed Drake May actually behind the anthem singer right now. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't want to be let down. So I'm kind of just I'm really just waiting till obviously we see what happens at 3. But man, if they get if Goodell comes up to the stage and says that the Patriots have traded the pick to the Giants, oh my God, I'm immediately running outside and screaming. I'd be very
Yeah, my reaction on this live stream is going to be pretty special if the Giants trade up for Drake May. That's one of the things that I'm most excited for. If it does happen, someone's going to get a pretty good video of me tonight. But I'm going to pull this up for you, Will. Patriots owner Robert Kraft introduces head coach Gerard Mayo to New England's draft party 1 hour before the draft. Mayo's message to the crowd: we're going to get a good player at 3. And look, it's going to be early, but we can always get back into the first round too, so stick around. So sounds like he is absolutely certain that he's taking a quarterback at number 3, which hurts my feelings and has me rather upset. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they go with I'm praying that they go with McCarthy, and then for just the Giants trade up instead of the Vikings, because I know the Vikings are also one of those teams that are QB needy and would like to trade up. I know they've been trying as well, but now that makes me a lot more like, damn, I don't think we're gonna get Drake May. I really do think we're gonna get Neighbors, but I'm still happy with that. Obviously, it's not Drake May, but we talked about it yesterday. Neighbors is a very good wide receiver. He has a potential to be a top 5 wide receiver, and we haven't had that since OBJ. We haven't had a playmaker in our receiving core like since we traded OBJ. So I wouldn't be mad if we got Malik Neighbors. It's not something.
No, I'd be happy with Malik Neighbors, but I told myself I wasn't gonna get my hopes up. Like I wasn't gonna get all excited over the rumors about Drake May. Inevitably, it happened. I got my hopes up. I got excited. I thought it was gonna happen. And I really was a believer all day long that it was going to happen. But here we are, and it sounds like Gerard Mayo just kind of shot that one down. You know what though? It is possible. I'll throw this out there just to give some people a little bit of copium, a little bit of hope. Maybe Gerard Mayo went up on that stage and said that as a way to entice the Giants to send in a higher offer. Maybe that's possible. I don't know.
It could be true. I mean, obviously, sometimes GMs do use social media, or not social media, but they use the insiders to. I don't know as much in the NFL, but I feel like in the NHL, it seems like teams use insiders so they can get leverage on others. Get that package up a little higher. So now that you say that, maybe that is the case. Maybe Gerard Mayo is going out and saying that to entice the Giants. Up your package, because it really seems like Joe Shane is trying very hard to get up to 3 or in the top 5 to draft a quarterback. That's what I've been seeing with all the rumors. So I guess that's not what I've been seeing, but like my thought process going through this whole thing is Joe Shane. I mean, he does want a quarterback, and he's really trying to trade up into the top 5 and get someone. But
yeah, the thing is, though, I don't think that Joe Shane just wants a quarterback. I think he's got a specific quarterback that he wants, and if he can't get that quarterback, I don't think the Giants are going to take a quarterback unless it's Drake May. And that's coming from a guy who would love them to take J.J. McCarthy. I'm in the minority here and would like to see them make that selection. But unfortunately, I just don't think that it's a realistic possibility. I think that the Giants or Drake May are bust at this point. And you know what? I've been saying it, though, on this show. If they don't take a QB and they go with one of these receivers, who am I to complain? It's going to be a lot of fun to watch Odunze or Neighbors or Harrison Jr. score these touchdowns. So I got to be excited for them if they take one of those guys too.
Exactly. Like I said before, the Giants, since OBJ, they haven't had a receiver that's a playmaker like him. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2018. So, getting a receiver like Neighbors or Odunze that people are projecting to come in, or even Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know why I didn't mention him, but those are 3 guys that people project to come into the league and have a 1,000-yard season off the bat. So, a rookie would be our 1,000-yard. We'd have our 1,000-yard receiver for the first time since 2018, and obviously it'd be a rookie. So you have your cost controlled for basically, I guess, 4 more years after that, because obviously you pick up their option.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up another report here on the screen. I think this is probably what the live stream is going to be until the draft actually kicks off, is me just pulling up tweets and chatting with you. But let me go ahead and pull this one up. Maybe this will give us a little bit more hope for Drake. Jordan Schultz, this was at 6:54, so an hour ago. He said there's no scenario in which the Patriots don't draft a QB. They've been entertaining offers, but nobody's offered anywhere near enough to move New England off of the third pick. So possibly the Giants have made some feeler offers, and then when the Patriots are on the clock, they send them the big one. They go, hey, let's drop this bomb on you right now. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe there is still hope. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It's looking less and less likely that the Giants are going to land the quarterback that they want.
Yeah, at this point, honestly, I'm basically just telling myself, don't get your hopes up that they're going to trade for it. They're going to, like I said, Goodell's going to come up, say the pick was traded to the Giants. And in my head right now, I'm just going with they're going to stay at 6 and take Neighbors. But now it just popped up in my head again that what if they trade down? Maybe if they can't get, when the Patriots come up on the board, onto the, I guess on the clock actually.
Yeah, well, I saw something today kind of on that point that you're making, that the Patriots might try to trade down with the Giants and trade back up to make sure that they get J.J. McCarthy. And it was supposed to be something, I guess one of these guys claims to be an insider. I don't know. There's so many rumors I can't keep up. But essentially it was supposedly a 3-way deal between the Giants, Cardinals, and Patriots. I don't know if this was theory or if this was rumor based on something that this guy heard, but he was saying maybe the Giants trade up to 4 with the Cardinals. Cardinals go to 6. Giants move up one more spot to 3. So basically make 2 trades up. Patriots take McCarthy at 4 after the Giants take May at 3. Yeah. And because there's no McCarthy left, I guess then you would have the Chargers taking Joe Alt or whichever tackle, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. still goes to the Cardinals. So the whole idea here is that the Cardinals won't trade back unless they know they could still get Harrison Jr., and the Patriots won't trade back unless they know they can get McCarthy. So that might be the only way that this gets done. But even still, that sounds like the biggest pipe dream of all time. I have no hope that that's actually going to happen.
Yeah, that's I mean, a 3-team trade. I mean, I don't know when the last time that happened in the NFL. I'm trying to think. I really can't.
I can't name one. I don't know of many.
Yeah, and I can't. I mean, I know it happens in the MLB a lot, in the NBA and the NHL, but the NFL, it seems like it's usually just 2-team trades. But honestly, if that happened, like that wouldn't necessarily be like terrible. I mean, obviously, the Giants get May, the Patriots get their guy, and then the Cardinals can still take Marvin Harrison Jr. because I don't think the Patriots, they're obviously going to take a quarterback. And if they don't, I think they're stupid. I mean, who do they have right now? They got Zappi and Brissett. I mean, I guess you can go into the season with Brissett, but they're probably going to want to go into the season starting Brissett with a rookie quarterback like Drake May sitting behind him, a bridge guy. But man, that is a pipe dream. But God, I'd be so happy if that happened, man. God, oh.
Well, this whole thing just feels fishy to me, right? Because if the Patriots were so serious about Drake May and viewed him as their franchise quarterback, why would they even be entertaining offers?
Fielding calls.
Right. Like if you felt like this guy was your franchise quarterback, you're not even picking up the phone. So like the Bears aren't picking up the phone. The Commanders said publicly they're not picking up the phone. So what is this? Maybe there is something going on here that you could kind of point to and say, hey, maybe the Patriots just need the right offer on the clock and maybe it'll happen.
And you bring up a good point. Like if they're so certain on picking Drake May at 3, why are they still fielding calls? That makes no sense. And I 100% agree with that. It's like maybe they're still waiting for the Giants to give them that package that blows them out the water, and they're going to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to trade you this. And maybe it happens when Goodell walks up on stage. That might not happen now, but that makes a lot of sense, actually. I really do. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that, actually. That's a perfect explanation of maybe they don't think May's their guy. Maybe they do think that McCarthy's their guy and they don't need that third pick to take him. Who knows? There's just so many things. That's what sucks about the draft is there's so many people that you don't like you don't know what's true and what's false. Like something could be a rumor, something could be true, but I mean, obviously that's with anything, but you really don't know. There's just so many people impersonating that it kind of screws with my head because I'm so reactionary that I see one thing and I'm like, oh man, this could be true, but at the same time it couldn't. But I don't know. I'm at this point in time, I'm really not trying to get my hopes up because I don't want to be let down. And I know that the Giants do that a lot, but I don't want to be let down at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like we are going to wind up being let down, though. We did this to ourselves, though. We got our hopes up. We knew that this was a possibility. If we got our hopes up, that we would hurt ourselves, and unfortunately, I do believe that that's what's happened.
I mean, we were what were we 2-5 or 2-6, and then Tommy DeVito comes in and wins 3 games. I mean, it's not his fault, but like
No more hate towards Tommy DeVito. I can't stand when people hate on Tommy, man. He's
I can't
he's
hate
just
him
doing
either.
his job, man.
He can't. Like, he was just doing what the team asked him to do. I mean, it's not his fault. Like, yeah, my
Right, and to build on that, because this is a point that I think I've never actually heard anyone make. The
Mhm.
Giants, a lot of Giants fans have criticized the Giants for not tanking
Yeah.
and for trying to win those games. The
Mhm.
Giants did not try to win those games. They put the third stringer Tommy DeVito in
Yeah.
while Tyrod Taylor was healthy. The
Yeah.
fans that like to see teams tank and wanted to see the
That
Giants
is
tank,
literally tanking.
they tried.
Yeah.
They tried. They had their second string quarterback healthy, and they put the undrafted rookie third stringer in. The guy just
Yeah.
went on the Linsanity run. You can't prepare for those things. Now the Giants are
Exactly.
picking 6 overall. I'm not complaining because I'm all about Tommy DeVito. I'm all about
The
Tommy
Italian
Cutlets.
man, of course. You gotta stick. If you're Italian, you gotta stick with your Italians.
Exactly. I mean, look at me. Come on. Could I be any more Italian? But listen, the try to tank crowd did win, as Jeffrey Wheeler just said in the comments. They did try. I believe that they did try to put this team in a position
I agree.
to lose if it came down to it. But Tommy DeVito had other plans, and listen, now the Giants are just going to have to get creative if they want their QB.
Exactly. They're gonna have. I mean, at this point, you have to trade up. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to stay at 6 and take a quarterback unless the Vikings somehow. The Cardinals don't like their deal, but they do have 2 first-round picks. That's pretty enticing.
It is.
But yeah, you're going to have to trade up. You're going to have to give up draft capital to trade up and get your quarterback. So at this point, you're going to have to go with something crazy or frisky if you want to get your franchise quarterback. And I know the Giants want to, but at this point, it's really not looking like it's a possibility.
It's not unless they take McCarthy at 6. But again, I know a lot of Giants fans don't want that to happen. And also, it just doesn't sound like it's going to. It just doesn't sound like the Giants are interested in doing that. But who knows, man? We'll see. It's officially 8 p.m. and now 8:01, but officially 8 p.m. So the draft has technically begun. But we know that these things never start on time. We've probably got about 20 minutes before the first pick
That's
is
what I
made.
was saying with the first pick. It's going to be made at like 8:15 or something. It goes to like midnight. The first round, but I can't lie. I truly am excited about this draft class, and they just showed Drake May again. But
which channel are you watching on? I've got ESPN pulled up right now.
yeah, I always watch ESPN. I can't.
Everybody comment down below what your preferred station is, what you're watching on.
See, I love ESPN because I love the jingle when they announce the pick. That's literally the reason why I watch ESPN. I really don't like the panel. I really could care less about that, but I love the jingle. So,
guys, check this out. Giants fans, I think you're gonna like this. Check out this beer glass, vintage beer glass that I got in a thrift store. Super Bowl 46, the one that the New York Giants won. Thrifted this in DeLand, Florida. Can you believe that? What was this doing there? I'm not so sure, but cool find. Figured I'd break it out for a special occasion on the New York Giants tonight.
See, if I was back at home, I could have pulled out a shot glass. It was when it was the 2001 Super Bowl. I can't remember what number that was when we played the Ravens. My dad has it. I could have pulled that out.
Yeah, that was that's the Super Bowl we don't talk about.
Yeah,
it's the only one that the Giants lost. But seems like a lot of people have ESPN as their preferred channel that they're watching.
I've seen one person say NFL Network. I think the only time I've watched NFL Network was a 2012 draft. And
I think that I usually watch NFL Network, and it's because of Daniel Jeremiah and Rich Eisen. Those are like my favorite football analysts. So I'm probably going to watch them, but, you know.
Yeah.
We'll
No,
see.
Daniel Jeremiah is awesome. I was listening to him talk today, and God, he's awesome. And so is oh crap, can't think of the other guy you just said. I'm sorry.
Oh, Rich Eisen. Rich
Rich,
Eisen's the
yeah,
GOAT,
Rich
though.
Eisen's awesome. I really do like him a lot too. I love how he runs the 40-yard dash every year.
Yeah, and he does it for charity, too. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know. He's awesome. He's an awesome guy.
Speaking of Rich Eisen, I'm going to pull this one up, too. I think this would be
You're getting
fun
my
for me to
hopes up,
show.
Anthony. Oh my God. Oh, I hate this. I
Give me
hate
a
this
second.
so
Let me
much.
find this tweet. Here we go. I don't know if this is going to get your hopes up, but maybe someone
Oh,
out there will watch this one and enjoy what I'm pulling up. Rich Eisen asked JJ McCarthy if he has any idea where he's going to go end up. I have somewhat of an idea, and then he said New York Giants have spent the most time with their phenomenal staff. Maybe I could play this. Can you hear that if I play it?
I can't hear it. Yeah, no, I can't hear it.
All right, that's unfortunate.
Nah, see, I wouldn't be. I think with JJ, I think the only thing that people really are a turnoff to him is that Michigan didn't really throw the ball. But when you have Blake Corum and who was their other running back, who was also very good. When you have two running backs like that, there's not really a reason to throw the football a ton. But JJ McCarthy's an athlete. I think in the right situation, he will become a very good quarterback. And I think that the Giants are one of those destinations where you have a guy like Brian Dable, and I honestly think he's kind of a quarterback whisperer. You see what he did with Josh Allen, and you see what he did with Daniel Jones 2 years ago. Now I know that it's a one season sample size, but
No, I agree. I think McCarthy, 21 years old, a lot of room to grow, but already knows how to run a pro-style offense. Brian Dable can make the most of him.
exactly.
Here's something else I'm going to pull up. So this is what the Giants draft room looks like. We've seen this picture before. Now we have Jordan Random posting it right now. But this is what I got to point out here. This helmet. You see this helmet? That's not the Giants' normal helmet.
They usually don't. They usually have the regular helmet in the draft room.
Could a change be on the way? God, I hope so, because I can't stand the gray face mask on our helmet. This helmet with the white Giants on the side and the white face mask, this is my favorite helmet ever. And I hope that this becomes the Giants' new primary helmet. I don't like the Navy. I like the Giants logo.
Really?
I like it with the royal blue. I don't like the Navy.
Okay, I can see why you don't like the Navy. See, when I was younger, when I was growing up, I was always asking for the Giants to bring back that Navy helmet and the white face mask, the matte Navy helmet and the white face mask. So that's my favorite. But I really don't care what they go with. I really just want the Giants insignia on the helmet, because the NY is great, yeah, but it's just so bland. Like, I feel like the Giants need to go back to this helmet in the draft room right now, and seeing that in the draft room maybe kind of helps you believe that maybe they're going to shift towards that. You look at the Jets; they went back to their '80s uniform, their '80s uniforms. Maybe
that's the trend now, is teams going to these modern throwbacks, right? Like even the Detroit Lions, they're wearing now uniforms that they wore before in the 80s and 90s, but with a little bit of updating, new helmet, new face mask, that kind of thing. That's what the Giants, I think, need to do. Like, I love their legacy uniforms that they wear, the 80s uniforms that they wear, their throwbacks, but they wear the Navy helmet. If you take that uniform, you update it, you wear this Color Rush helmet that they used to have. Perfect uniform. I would absolutely love that to be the primary uniforms going forward, and we'll see if they do it. The Giants haven't changed their uniform since 2006. Can you believe it's been that long? Almost 20 years.
That's crazy. I mean, that really is crazy. I had the original. My first jersey was a Michael Strahan jersey, and I think that was when the Giants went. I'm trying to think when that was. I might have been like 4 years old, actually. So it might have been the year after they finally switched back to the jersey, but we'll see the the Bears milk their clock.
For sure. Every team always does, no matter what. You always know they're gonna pick, but they're gonna milk the clock anyway.
That's what I hate with the first overall pick. It's like, God, they always take so long. I think I know who you're taking, just
right.
But it's just for the excitement. It's just for the what's it sound.
Yeah, it also I think it's like almost as a courtesy to other teams that are negotiating trades and whatnot, like the New York Giants, hopefully, right? Gives them a little bit more time to try and strike a deal with a team behind them. So,
yeah, I mean, makes me happy. But Yeah, I guess the draft is. I guess the draft has been officially open for 8. Well, I guess now Goodell's coming out, so the draft's officially
Oh, is he
open.
coming out now?
Yeah, he's
Here we
coming out
go.
now. So the draft, I guess, is now officially open. But
Yeah, see, you're ahead of me because you're watching on television, right? You're not streaming. I'm gonna be behind.
yeah, I'm watching on the ESPN app on my TV. So I guess that.
Yeah, see, now they just showed the crowd. I haven't even seen Goodell come out onto the
Yeah,
stage
see,
yet.
I have Goodell out here now, and I think that's Eminem out with. Yeah, Eminem's out on the stage with him. So.
All right, well that's cool, but that means that we're not going to be able to have you on during when the Giants are picking. We're going to have to kick you off so I can give my live reaction without any
I'm going to be on the stream. I'm going to record. I'm going to screen record it because I want to use
screen record it. Yeah, everybody's going to want to see it. I mean, listen, I'm probably going to close the chat just as a heads up to everybody viewing. I'm going to close the chat and probably just mute all notifications and start watching when pick 2 is on the clock.
I'm turning my phone.
We're going to get close.
Yeah, I'm turning my phone. I'm actually going to take off my watch right now because I don't want it to get spoiled for me. My roommate's sitting to the left of me right now, and last year he'll even tell you that I wanted Jordan Addison very badly, and when we took him, not when we took him, when the Vikings took him, I think we were behind on the stream, and he knew who we were picking, and he was like, "Do you just want me to tell you?" And I was like, "You know what? At this point, I really don't even care. Just tell me." And I think it was 2 minutes before we picked Banks. I knew, and I was a little sad when we didn't get Addison, but I'm happy with Banks. He's great, and I know you said that. I know what you said yesterday, and I'm actually very happy with Banks. He's a very good corner, and obviously our secondaries is in tatters outside of him. So, in hindsight, I should have been happy with it.
Just to clarify, I'm not closing the chat off for you guys. You guys can keep commenting. I'm just going to close it for myself so that I don't get spoiled for the pick, so you guys get my live, genuine reaction. After I react, I'll bring the chat back on, and then I'll start talking to you guys. But, yeah, that's to clarify there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been good. I haven't gotten spoiled for draft picks in the past. I have a pretty good system. The only time was one time we did one of these live streams, Alex and I, and I think it was 2022. I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, who are we picking? Who are we picking? And then Alex goes, Kayvon Thibodeau, baby. And I was like, all right, Alex.
Oh, see, that draft, I was like, it was my genuine reaction to, like, the year before. I think I knew it was Kadarius Toney because I was on Twitter like an idiot, but that Kayvon and Evan Neal draft, that was a genuine reaction for me. I was jumping up in my dorm room. My roommates were all around me. They were recording me. So that was definitely a fun moment. That was a fun day.
Yeah.
I'm nervous right now.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. I am nervous as well. I'll tell you. I got to keep my hopes up. Oh, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. It's no bluff. The Patriots are selecting Drake May. That's brutal. This is demoralizing. I knew I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up.
Yeah. This whole entire day I was getting my hopes up too. Oh, my God.
It's impossible not to. So many rumors.
He's going to get picked. They just said that May's going to – it's no bluff that May's going to win the Patriots. Damn. So I guess – you know what? Malik Neighbors is great. Take a quarterback next year. At least you have your.
I guess. Hey, listen. There's also this. This isn't necessarily Giants related, but this is pretty interesting. Patriots have reportedly been working on a trade for wide receiver of the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk. So it sounds like they're going to have the exact draft that we want. That's pretty painful.
Yeah. Oh, now the Bears are officially on the clock, but.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so once the pick is in, I'll have to boot you off here and then close my chat so I can get ready for pick 2 and 3 and so forth.
That is totally fine. I understand. I'm glad when you texted me, I came out of nowhere. Like I literally like 5 minutes before I put my microphone arm upstairs and I was rushing to go get that. I couldn't find – I'm not even talking into it because I couldn't find my little dongle, but I was like, holy crap. I thought you were just saying tune on like just join like the live stream on YouTube. So I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then you sent me the link and I was like, oh crap.
Needed a special guest here, help the time go by and get closer to draft time. But
of course.
Yeah, Bears are on the clock. Here we are. It's officially happening.
I mean,
So what we haven't even talked about Caleb. Do you have a take and opinion on this? You think he should be number one? I know like he's the consensus number one. I think he should be number one. A lot of people there are people out there that disagree. You have a take on that?
I think he should be number one. I think it's a no fire pick, a surefire pick with him. I do think that his maturity might be an issue, but at the same time, he's 20. What is he? 21 years old. Like he's was a junior in college, so I think his first year you'll see him kind of. I don't think you'll see his full potential. He's going to come in. He's probably going to struggle mightily. His second year, he'll start to mature in the offseason, and then his second year is really when he will really take that next step in and really break out with the Bears. But I think he's in a pretty good situation with them. They obviously just traded for Keenan Allen. I know he's pretty injury prone, but they also have DJ Moore. Who's their running back? They just Khalil Herbert. So I mean, they don't have. It's not
They signed DeAndre Swift.
That's what it was. They signed DeAndre Swift. So they have Herbert and DeAndre Swift, and Swift's a pretty good running back. So I think Caleb will struggle a little bit his first year, but his second year is really when he's going to take that next step and really truly break out.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a pretty good rookie season just because of how much talent is around them, to be completely honest. I mean, the amount of players that they put over there in Chicago with DJ Moore is great. Keenan Allen is excellent. DeAndre Swift is a really good back. They have a good offensive line. It's going to come down to coaching, whether or not they're able to maximize Caleb Williams, in my opinion. But listen, Caleb's a tremendous talent in my mind. But all right, I think our last hope here, there is one tidbit of information that we should not overlook in the Drake May saga. I'm going to throw this out here. For the Giants fans that are feeling upset and they need one last piece of hope, Drake May has trained all offseason long, pre-draft process long, with a quarterback that we all know and love. His name is Eli Manning. In 2004, Eli Manning was the first overall pick to the Los Angeles Chargers. Said, I don't want to play for Los Angeles. Got traded to the Giants. Our last hope here is probably that Drake May pulls an Eli and pushes his way out of New England and into New York. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that we can all be kind of confident that that's not going to happen. Actually, it's just very impossible. But it's our last glimmer of 1% hope here, I guess.
Yeah, that's I mean, he even sounds like Eli Manning, dude. Like he
does. That made me wonder, that clip of him talking and how he sounded so much like Eli, even in his cadence and just the way that he was carrying himself. I wonder if he was training with Eli or if he was like media training with Eli. It's very possible that Eli was just media training him.
Because Eli was very good with the media. That's one thing that he always doesn't matter win, loss, how good, how bad he played. He would always meet with the media no matter what. He'd always take the blame. He was very well media trained. So I can't lie. That's, now that you bring that up, that's a very fair point. Maybe he wasn't just training with Eli. Maybe he was training with Eli, but maybe it was just media training, not on the field. That's a fair point that you bring up.
Yeah, maybe it could have been both, but I think obviously him hanging around Eli definitely rubbed off on him. At least it sounded that way in that video that everybody has referenced. So that's exciting. I love how they keep showing the Bears, and there's like, that room doesn't look even excited to be making this draft pick.
They just look like it's a normal day in the office for them. They don't.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb hasn't picked up the phone yet either. I haven't seen him make a phone call. So
yeah, I saw he was just sitting on his phone, but now they're showing Jaden Daniels, and man, I remember when we were getting mocked to Jaden Daniels at 6. That's what's always crazy about the end of the year is you can never. Even when it's the end of the year and it's February and you got at least, you got 2 months till the draft, you can never – it's so hard to predict where these guys are going to go because now the Commanders were supposed to take May at the end of the year, and now they're probably going to take Jaden Daniels. It's so hard. Like, we were mocked to take Jaden Daniels at the end of the year. So,
yeah, I really thought, though, that Daniels was going to have that rise. I made a YouTube video on my solo, and it was basically bold prediction, Jaden's going to go number 1. And I didn't really believe that Jaden was going to go number 1, but the purpose of the video was to highlight how he was going to have a rise in draft stock. Like, anybody talking about him going 6 to 15, I was way ahead of that, telling people that was wrong. because Jaden Daniels, if you look at what his career trajectory is, it's very similar to Kyler Murray. Wasn't supposed to be a first-round draft pick, won the Heisman, became the number one pick. Baker Mayfield wasn't supposed to be a first-round pick, wins a Heisman, goes number one. Joe Burrow. Yep. So you follow. So I was like, the only way that that Jaden Daniels doesn't become the number one pick is because Caleb Williams exists.
Yeah.
But in any other draft class, Jaden, with the career trajectory that he's had, it's so reminiscent of these other number one picks. So I was like, he's going in the top 3. It's not even going to be an option for the Giants whenever they're picking. Like, I knew that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, once he won, now the Bears pick is in, but yeah, once he won the Heisman, I knew that he wasn't gonna be available for the Giants, and that kind of sucked because I did like Jane Daniels, and I know that he does have the highest floor to be a bust. I think. I can't say that actually. I do. Penix might be that guy, but he has a high but. There's a chance that he's one of the quarterbacks in this draft class where there's a big chance that he could end up being a bust, but. Now they're all dapping each other up in the Bears draft room. They definitely just took Caleb Williams, and if they didn't, then Ryan Poles should be fine. No, I can't say that either. I'm not going to say that.
I don't know. They're showing Caleb Williams, and he doesn't look happy. I don't know if this is just
look like he's fielded a phone call yet. Maybe they didn't show it on camera, but
I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet already, and it's already been tipped. But I don't know. I'm curious as to. Oh, there he goes. He just picked up the phone, but he's texting. He didn't pick up a. Wasn't a call. I'm curious to know why he looks so upset. I'm
curious to know who the Bears are going to pick right here. I really don't know.
Yeah. As if.
Let's see. Yeah, Bears picking. Yeah, like.
Oh, I didn't see that one coming, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Crazy. Oh, now my doggies.
Had to mute you real quick. I don't want to hear the doggy. Yeah, Caleb to the Bears. We all knew that was going to happen. Now Washington at number 2. Could they make a surprise pick and take May is the question. I don't think so. I do think they're going with Jaden Daniels no matter what. So then it's just going to be up to New England whether or not the Giants can godfather them into making a trade. Your dog done barking? You able to take your mic off mute?
My dog is done barking, but my friend did walk in, so I probably am going to go. I know I was going to get booted anyway around here, but yeah, I am going to go now. But I do appreciate you letting me come on the stream, Anthony. And I guess now he's barking again. Yeah,
all right. Well, thanks for coming on, and we were happy to have you. And maybe we'll see you later to react to the Giants pick, maybe later on.
Of course. I'll talk to you later, Tony.
All right, man. Peace. So, all right, guys, there you have it. Caleb Williams is the number 1 overall pick in the draft, as we all expected him to be. And moving ahead here, Washington is on the clock. Anybody think a surprise is coming? Does anyone believe that we could be getting a Drake May selection here, or do we all believe that it's going to be Jaden Daniels? What do we think? Yeah, the dog was excited for the Bears. I'm excited for the Bears, man. They deserve this. All the hell that they've gone through with quarterbacks. You know, they've never gone ahead and had a 4,000-yard passer in their entire franchise. They've been around for over 100 years, but you know, we'll see. See if he can be the one to turn it around. We shall see. But there you go. I'm looking at Caleb on the stage right now, holding up the jersey. Christian still thinks the Giants are getting Drake May somehow. Listen, man, I hope you're right, but I think that the trade would have happened by now. I think it would have been done, would have already occurred. But hey, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Washington selects JJ to give us either Drake or Jaden. What do we think? Smoke screens? I think that Jaden Daniels is going number 2. But maybe JJ McCarthy goes to the Giants instead of Washington. I just don't think that there's been too much smoke for Jaden to number 2. I have to assume that there's fire where that smoke is. Anyone but JJ, so says Joey DeMush. I don't think that JJ is going to wind up with the Giants, so I don't think you have too much to worry about. But I would like JJ to wind up with the Giants, if not Drake May. I'll be honest, guys, I just really think the Giants need to take a swing at a quarterback. I think it has to happen. But ultimately, they're not going to force it. They're going to take their guy, and their guy is Drake May. It's been made very clear that their guy is Drake May, so I don't think that it's going to happen. Vince is hoping to see Marvin Harrison Jr. fall into the lap of the New York Giants. Hey, maybe MHJ goes number 3. Could you imagine that? Imagine Marvin Harrison goes to the Pats. That would put the whole draft in a twirl. But I can't imagine that happens. Just as an update, guys, because I know that we're getting to the picks, so I know some of you new viewers are going to be joining in. Alex is not able to make it tonight. His wife is in labor, so he is at the hospital with her. He's not going to be popping into the live stream tonight. He just updated me, gave me word that he can't make it, so he won't be here, but I'm here to give you guys the live reaction to the New York Giants pick. But congrats to Alex, of course. You guys were really nice to him in the comment section. I know he appreciates that on our video that we uploaded earlier today. But that's where he is. He won't be able to make it. So you guys are stuck with me, but it's going to be fun. Stick around. I'm going to be giving you guys my genuine reaction to the Giants pick. I agree that the Giants need to take a QB at 6. Penix is fine with me. See, that's where I don't agree. I want the Giants to take a QB at 6. I think it needs to happen. Penix, in my opinion, it's too early to take him at number 6. I think they're going to have to take him later on, deeper down in the draft, if they want to take Penix later in the first round, potential trade down or trade up from the second round. See, this is where I disagree. I don't think the Giants are in a tough spot at 6. They're in a tough spot if they are desperate to get a quarterback, of course, but they're not really in a tough spot because no matter what they do at 6, they're getting a good player because of the way the quarterbacks are going to come off the board, because of the possibility of the Giants getting a QB, and the fact that if they don't get a QB, they're going to get maybe the best non-QB. So the Giants picking at 6, they're walking away with either a quarterback by trading up a few spots, a quarterback at 6, or a blue chip wide receiver prospect, or, and this is the last resort, I think, they could trade down and get an absolute haul of draft picks, probably get a future first round draft pick. So I don't think the Giants are in a tough spot. I think they're in almost a can't lose position here, which is exciting. It looks like it's in their picking now. Curious to see who it is. It's going to be Jaden. Isaac doesn't want Joe Alt, left tackle out of Notre Dame. I do agree with you. I think that the Giants have invested too much capital into their offensive line. They need to start developing these players that they have on the offensive line. I wouldn't invest another first-round pick into the line. So as great as Joe Alt is, and believe me, I think that he is an excellent player, I don't think that he's going to be the Giants' pick at number 6. But Commanders' pick is in. That means New England is technically on the clock right now. So if any trade is going to happen, it is going to happen very soon. Isaac, always good to see you too. Thank you for stopping by and enjoying the draft with me. I am starting to get nervous. Anybody else starting to get the butterflies, a little pit in the stomach, getting a little nervous for the upcoming pick here? I mean, I'm nervous because I got to see what New England does at number 3. Whatever the Pats do dictates what the Giants end up doing. So I'm getting nervous here because if the Pats, they're technically on the clock right now. If they get their pick in real quick, I'm going to be a little bit hurt. But hopefully they take McCarthy so that we have a chance at May. That's what I'm praying for. But we'll see. I'm not exactly sure. So I don't know what the pick is just yet. If you guys could do me a favor and not spoil things down below, don't say what the picks are. I'm going to try and react for you guys and give you my reaction. I've got Goodell up there right now giving the pick. Jaden Daniels. It's pretty crazy to me how early in the draft process Washington landed on Jaden Daniels and decided that they were taking him at number 2. I feel like this is something that we've known for a very long time. And it is surprising to me that they came to that conclusion so early in the process. A lot of other teams seem to not have their decision made, not even right now. And Washington made their decision very early on. And I find that very interesting. So that's just my one takeaway that I'll give to that. But New England on the clock. So I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and close the chat here so that I can give you guys my live reaction to anything that happens, just in case the Giants make a trade. But New England on the clock. Fingers crossed, guys. I've hidden the chat for myself so that I can go ahead and give you guys my my live reactions. But just going to start thinking here and not responding to your chat since I can't see them. But I'm getting nervous now. Now that we're at New England on the clock, I'm feeling the nerves. I'm feeling very nervous because I really want the Giants to somehow pull off that trade up to the number 3 pick. But it's unfortunate. I just don't think it's going to happen. But hey, like I said, I think that the Giants picking at number 6 can't go wrong. They have so many opportunities to get a good prospect with the number 6 overall pick. So I do believe that they will land a very good player. But New England here, 6.5 minutes left on the clock for them. The assumption is that it's going to be Drake May. If I am not looking at the chat and something has changed, you guys are going to see my genuine reaction. That's the whole point of this. But right now it's looking like New England is going to make their pick. So, but getting nervous, getting anxious. It's going to hurt me when they announce New England's pick. I'll tell you guys that. If you guys weren't around for last night's live stream, the Draft Eve live stream that was with Allie and Will, I promised you guys I wasn't going to get my hopes up, and I was going to make sure that today I wasn't set up in a position of disappointment. But there were so many rumors all day today about the Giants trying to trade up to number 3. I did get my hopes up. I got very excited over the possibility of the Giants trading up to 3 for a QB, namely Drake May. But unfortunately, it seems like over the last hour and a half or so that the rumors have turned around and that it sounds like Drake May is going to be a New England Patriot, unfortunately. But, hey, man, we'll see. Patriots have a little over 5 minutes left on the clock. After the Patriots pick, once that goes in, if it's not traded to the Giants, I will react to it, and then I will bring the chat back on until the Giants are on the clock so that I can give you guys my genuine reactions. But for now, just in case a trade happens, I have to go ahead and keep the chat closed. I'm missing you guys, though. Getting nervous, as you guys can tell. I'm really hopeful. And I see it. The Patriots pick is in. All right, dreams crushed, guys. Dreams crushed. I really thought the Giants were going to be able to get it done. Damn. Damn, that sucks. I thought the Giants were going to make it happen. I was so excited, guys. I was so ready to give you like a great reaction if the Giants were able to trade up to that number 3 pick. Damn. Patriots pick is in. I'm assuming it's Drake, so I guess I'll stay live reacting it though, just in case they surprise us with the McCarthy. But looks like our dream is coming to an end here. Now it's we'll see what happens at number 6. Man, I got that feeling, when you get really excited and then you get disappointed. It's it's like when the Giants, lined up to kick a game-winning field goal and then they miss. That feeling in your stomach, it's like, oh, that's what just happened to me. Adam Schefter just said it. 0% chance that the Patriots trade out. They're taking their quarterback of the future. Damn. Man. I had so much hope today. That's so upsetting, guys. I was really hopeful. I did get my hopes up. I got my expectations higher than I should have. It's unfortunate. But all right. So picking at number 6, I'm still going to predict that the Giants are going Malik Neighbors. That's been my prediction. I've been saying on the channel that as badly as I want Drake May, if it was my choice of who the Giants could get, it would be Drake May. But my prediction was Malik Neighbors. So now the commissioner is walking up, and I'll get you guys the official answer in my mind as to who the Patriots are taking. Drake May to the Patriots. All right, let's get back into the chat and start talking with you guys once again. We're on a good path here. I know, 6th pick, we still got an opportunity to get some good talent, but man, I was hopeful. I was definitely hopeful that the Giants would be able to make the trade up. Now we need Drake to tell the Patriots no, right? I feel you, Christian. This one hurts me. I was really, really, I had my hopes up. Pull in Eli Manning, please, 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 Drake May, pull in Eli Manning, please, man, I wish. Man, I'm reading through the chat right now, trying to catch up here. I don't think this is going to happen, Christian, as badly as I wanted to. So now I do believe that the Giants are going to stick and pick. Maybe they trade down. Scott Sherman brings up a good point here. Maybe they're going to go ahead and trade down. That could be their potential solution as a response to not getting the quarterback that they want. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Giants are going to stick a pick, but they're going to get a great player at number 6. That's for sure. We could be happy about that. But who do we want at number 6? That's the question now. All right, well, Drake May just made it abundantly clear that he's happy to be a New England Patriot, so I don't think he's going to be forcing his way into the Big Apple anytime soon, unfortunately. Oh, man. You guys are hoping for Neighbors at 6? I am as well. That's been my prediction for a very long time. I've been saying I think Neighbors is going number 6 to the Giants. Remember, guys, try not to drop any spoilers in the chat so I can give you the live reactions. But I think it's going to be Neighbors at 6. But I was reading today from a few credible insiders that the Giants maybe do prefer Rome Odunze. Maybe they do. Arizona's taking a while to get this pick in here. I don't know if you guys know it, but don't tell me. Adam Schefter just said it, that they are going to go ahead and stick with the number 4 pick. So there goes Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. It's pretty crazy. At one point, Marvin Harrison Jr. was widely expected to go number 1 at one point, or at least number 2. Goes number 4. First non-quarterback drafted, though. So hopefully we do land ourselves Malik Neighbors, though. I would love to see Malik Neighbors with the number 6 pick. That's who I would like. I know that there are a lot of Giants fans who prefer Rome Odunze, though, and we'll see if that ends up going. All right, just an update, guys. Alex is at the hospital. His wife is in labor. He's not going to be able to make it to the live stream, so it's just me live reacting to the draft tonight. He really tried to make it. He wanted to make it, but life gets in the way. Something more important has occurred for Alex. But back to the draft. Not Odunze. Mr. Bruce Wolf does not want Odunze. That's interesting. Yeah, guys, drop a congrats to Alex. I know a lot of you left some really nice comments to him in our video that we posted this morning. That was really awesome. He appreciates that. I appreciate that. So thanks, guys. Probably after the Giants make their pick, I will. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my live reactions, though, to the picks. No guests. Don't want to get anything spoiled. Just want to live react to everybody. For everybody, rather. Pick is in for the Cardinals. It's definitely going to end up being Marvin Harrison. I don't know what's going to happen ahead, but hopefully the Giants. You guys know I like Malik Neighbors. I've said on the show before that I think he is the best wide receiver in the NFL draft class. Obviously, Malik Neighbors isn't going number one out of the receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr., I just heard it right there from Roger Goodell, is going to the Arizona Cardinals with number 4. And listen, well-deserved. Marvin Harrison Jr., excellent wide receiver prospect. But this does open the door for the Giants to get a very explosive playmaker in Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors. Now, I'm curious to see what the Chargers do here. Maybe the Chargers will wind up trading down. Possible that maybe we will see some moves here. Maybe the Vikings try and move up, but I'd have to imagine that they're going to take the best alignment available. Maybe they take a playmaker, though. This is going to be interesting. Once the Chargers pick is in and announced, I will go ahead and close the chats and give you guys my live reactions with no spoilers. But super random, a Bears Max here's rumors leaked from Rome Odunze's agent. I wonder what that might be. Don't tease us. If you got some insider info, drop it. Neighbors, Odunze, trade back, or JJ, I'm in. See, that's my point. The Giants can go one of 4 different directions, and I'm going to be happy. So while I'm eternally depressed now and hurt on the inside because the Giants did not get Drake May and they weren't able to trade up for him, I am hurt by this. I am very upset. I'm going to smile through the pain, and whoever they take here at the number 6 overall pick, I'm probably going to be very happy. I think that, there's going to be a really good player selected by the New York Giants tonight. This is a can't-lose situation in my mind. Hopefully they go ahead and make the right selection in the long run. We'll go ahead and see what the Chargers do. I don't know. Don't spoil it, guys. Don't tell me. But my prediction here is Joe Alt. I think that the Chargers are going to go Joe Alt. That's been my pick for them in a lot of mock drafts. But we're getting close, guys. Giants are almost on the clock. Who's hoping for J.J. McCarthy? Anybody hoping for J.J. McCarthy over Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze? Let me know down below if you prefer J.J. Let me know if you prefer the playmaker. Let me know if you prefer trading down. I'm so curious to hear what mindset you guys are in now that we're so close to the pick. So far, though, the draft is going pretty much how we expected it to. We believed that this is how it was going to go. So, only difference is that we're seeing no trade downs here. So, it's not disrespectful, but the likes are appreciated. Smash the like button if you are enjoying the live stream. Much appreciated whenever you guys do that. And thank you all for tuning in and dropping comments in the chat, making this all fun. Dominic says he wonders what last-ditch effort the Giants might have tried in order to get Drake May. Let's go Neighbors, trade down if Neighbors is picked here. I agree with you. I want Neighbors at 6, and I am super curious to know. Hopefully one day we can find out the information on that. How deep into the conversation did the Giants and the Patriots get? Did the Patriots really pick up the phone? Did they really entertain the possibility of a trade, or did the Giants send them the Godfather offer and it got rejected? I hope one day we're able to find out from some sort of insider or, maybe GM down the road goes ahead and gives the info. It'd be really interesting to know. But here we go. And still on my screen, the pick is not in yet for the Chargers, but soon enough it will be, and the Giants will be on the clock. I can't wait. Dirty Dancer, we were talking about this earlier in the live stream. The Giants, a lot of fans wanted them to tank and were upset that they won those games. But in my opinion, I think they tried to. They had their backup quarterback healthy. Tyrod Taylor was ready to play. And instead of starting their backup quarterback, they started the third stringer. undrafted free agent, who sure was arguably the hot hand at the time, but that's kind of a move that a team makes when they're not necessarily putting winning at the forefront, in my opinion, starting the third stringer over the healthy second stringer. So I think that you can argue that the Giants, in a way, did tank, whether intentionally or not, but it just didn't work because Tommy DeVito had other plans. Tommy DeVito was playing for his job, for his livelihood, and he went ahead and won some games for the Giants. And as a result, we are no longer in the running for the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft. They're all gone. So, it is what it is, though. Joe Shane's got his work cut out for him trying to figure out how to navigate the future of the New York Giants now. That's for sure. Right, and I agree with this. I think that Brian Daboll is too good of a coach to have lost those games down the stretch. No matter which quarterback was in the lineup, he was going to find a way to get a couple of wins. He is a good coach. I do believe in Brian Daboll, and for what it's worth, as we are sitting here depressed myself, disappointed that we didn't get Drake May, we still have Brian Daboll, and we still should be able to find excitement in Brian Daboll as our head coach and his ability to develop quarterbacks. So hopefully. Guys, I can't lie to you. I did get my hopes up for Drake May. I'm very upset. But hey, like I said, we're going to get a good player at number 6. I'm confident. There is no second round today. The second round will be tomorrow. Second and third round tomorrow evening. I believe it starts at 7 p.m. But no second round tonight, just the first round. And it's going to go on for a while. And I'll be sitting here for a while talking with you guys. So stay tuned. Oh, yeah, I know. I got a lot of copium going through. A lot of copium. I don't know about you guys. Pick still isn't in for the Chargers on my screen, so. Psyched is a strong word. I will be intrigued. I will be excited. I don't know if I'll be psyched because I'm going to be cautiously optimistic if it's JJ McCarthy at 6. I'm going to be a little bit nervous, to be completely honest. It's going to be scary dealing with the passionate side of the fan base that really dislikes JJ McCarthy. So it's going to be scary. But let's see. Jerry DeMush says the Chargers are not trading. There's a minute and 30 left on the clock on my screen, and pick is finally in. There you go. That was perfect timing. So Giants are technically on the clock right now, and I think I'm going to close the chat here in a second so that I can give you guys my genuine reaction once the Giants are officially on the clock. But picks in for the Chargers. I don't know who it is. I don't want to know who it is, so don't tell me. But man, we'll see what happens here. Oh, man. Anybody nervous? I'm nervous. I'm definitely nervous. I'm nervous. I'm curious to see what the Chargers do, though. I have heard that the Giants prefer Odunze over Neighbors. So as badly as I like Neighbors and want it to be Neighbors, if he's there at number 6, we'll see if that's how the Giants feel. But I've gone ahead and closed the chat now so that I can give you guys my live reaction. But I'll turn it back on after the Giants pick is in for sure and react with you guys. Definitely feeling a little bit nervous, though, guys. How are you feeling? I can't see, but man, listen, I'll always dream of Drake May for sure. I'll always dream that this went differently, but it is what it is. Other quarterbacks will be available at some point. And hey, how often is it that the best quarterbacks go at the top of the draft? Oftentimes there are some gems later in the first round or later on in the draft. It's always possible that you guys or that a team is able to find somebody later on. So holding out hope. But I was really hoping for Drake May, guys, for sure. Pick is in. Wow, Adam Schefter just said that the Chargers got phone calls on trading Justin Herbert, and they said no. That's interesting. I wonder what team made that phone call. It had to have been the Vikings, I would assume, right? Based on all the Antonio Brown fake reports. That's crazy, though. I can't believe that phone call was even made, that the Chargers even got an offer. All right, Chargers are announced the pick right now. Joe Alt, there you go. I figured they were going to go offensive line. So this opens the door. The Giants can get one of these playmakers. Giants fans who were afraid of the Giants going with an offensive tackle, you can feel okay now. I feel better now. Now I know that the Giants aren't going to go offensive tackle. I really didn't want to see them take a lineman. I wanted to see them take a offensive weapon or QB. So Joe Alt to the Los Angeles Chargers, as we pretty much all expected here. No trades in the top 5. Can you guys believe that? Pretty surprising. I definitely thought there would be at least one trade. I was really hoping that it would be the New York Giants who make the trade. No trades in the top 5, though. And teams got calls, though. Adam Schefter said that the Cardinals and Patriots and the Chargers all got phone calls and no offers accepted. So Giants picking number 6 here. I'm going to give you guys my final prediction. I think it's going to be Malik Neighbors. That's been my prediction throughout the offseason. I've been predicting wide receiver for the Giants at 6, playmaker. Malik Neighbors makes so much sense. I think he's such a tremendous talent. I think he's going to be a great NFL player, and I'm hoping that that's the pick. I will definitely be getting hyped if that is the pick. But 6 minutes left on the clock for our beloved New York Giants. Wonder if it's going to be a surprise pick, but I think it's going to be a wide receiver. Yeah, so Joe Alt to the Chargers. New York Giants not going offensive tackle, I would assume. If the Giants were to somehow take an offensive tackle here after Joe Alt came off the board, wouldn't be a pretty reaction from me. I don't think that's going to happen, though. So I still can't see the chat, but I can see that my text messages are blowing up and that the chat is blowing up. So maybe something happened. I'll find out shortly. My stream is behind. But I'm excited to see what happens, guys. Shout out to all 250 of you in the chat right now. Much appreciated for viewing in here. Make sure to smash the like button if you're enjoying and keep being active in the chat. This is a lot of fun. I'm happy to be here with you guys. And I'm very nervous to be here with you guys. Under 5 minutes left on the New York Giants shot clock. The pick is in. The pick is in. The pick is in. I'm trying to listen to what the ESPN reporters are saying. Sounds like QB. Sounds like they're not going to be going with a quarterback according to Adam Schefter. But we'll see. Pick is in. Pick is coming up soon. They're showing J.J. McCarthy on the screen. I don't know if that means anything. Getting nervous here. Pick is in. Getting close here, guys. I wonder what it's going to be. Commissioner is walking up on the stage now as we speak. You guys probably know the pick already. I'm about to learn it in live time. Boom. Malik Neighbors, baby. That was my selection. That was my predicted pick. This is what I wanted if the Giants were able to get Malik Neighbors at number 6. I'm happy about this, guys. How are you feeling? Let's go. Let's go. Malik Neighbors. I told you guys in all my mock drafts, Malik Neighbors shouldn't have even been the discussion. J.J. McCarthy would have been an interesting selection. Give me that playmaker. That's 1,000 receiving yards as a rookie, baby. Giants have a playmaker, finally. They lost Saquon Barkley. Now they've got somebody who can get out there and score some touchdowns for them. This is huge. Yes, sir. Back-to-back years. I am 100% right. I said Deontay Banks last year. I said Malik Neighbors this year. There was a lot of smoke today that the Giants weren't going to take Malik Neighbors. Not true. Malik Neighbors was the obvious selection here. He's one of the best wide receiver prospects to come out in recent years. He's going to be an absolute stud for the New York Giants. I'm super happy with this selection. Shades of Jamar Chase in his game. I believe that totally. Let's go. Let's go. This is who I wanted. Oh, let me throw this New Jersey on. Here's my Malik Neighbors jersey. How do we feel, guys? Let's go. Let's go. I'm so excited. Let's go. Let's go. I love it. I love it. LSU wide receivers, they always pan out. I mean, come on now. Guy is an absolute bulldozer after the catch. Extreme athlete, can go up there and make contested grabs, gets open with his route running. He's a playmaker at every level of the field. I absolutely love Malik Neighbors. I'm wearing this every game next season, baby. Malik Neighbors. I don't even have to get a new jersey. I got it. Already put on there. Someone screenshot this, post it on Twitter. I got the Neighbors jersey early. They already told me the pick. He's 6'1". He's 6'1". He's not small. Malik Neighbors is a big, stocky wideout. Believe me, he's a great player. He's not a small, fast wide receiver. He's a big dude. He goes up there, makes grabs. Looks a lot like Jamar Chase. If you think Jamar Chase is a small receiver, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, I feel good, guys. I'm happy. Malik Neighbors is the pick. My phone is blowing up. I like all the texts that I'm getting from people. Are you okay? I'm okay, guys. I love Malik Neighbors. I'm very happy with Malik Neighbors, man. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar for the New York Giants. That's right. There you go. I was acting, guys. Look at me. I'm all happy. I'm so happy right now. Alex texted me. He's not going to be able to give you guys his live reaction, but he said, I love him. I'm happy with Malik Neighbors. Alex is happy with the draft selection. So Fireside Giants is happy. We're going to have a great reaction episode tomorrow. I can't wait. So what do you guys think the Giants do at quarterback, though? LDE is dropping some ideas. Get Bo Nix next. Trader Joe. I got to be honest. I think it's going to be another season of Daniel Jones, but who knows? What do you guys think is going to happen now with J.J. McCarthy? Didn't go 6 to the Giants. Nobody traded up for him. You think he's going to fall to 11? I guess it's very possible now. Guess it could happen. Yeah, can you guys believe that? It's been exactly 10 years since the Giants drafted Odell Beckham Jr. Now they just draft another New York Giants or LSU wide receiver to the New York Giants. Pretty interesting. H.O. says that this paves the way to Arch Manning. Danny says that he loves the pick. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Danny, our graphic designer who makes all of this cool stuff that you see on the channel. He loves the pick. Man, I love the pick as well. I'm very happy with Malik Neighbors. This is a a very happy outcome for me. So. Someone wants Michael Penix in the second round. Is that what you guys are feeling? You want to see the Giants trade up? Maybe take Penix in the second? Man, what a moment. How are we feeling? I'm hyped, guys. I'm very excited. Danny, so I got this really cool glass here, the Super Bowl 46 glass that I found in Florida in a thrift store, vintage. Of course, we know the New York Giants won that Super Bowl. I got a little Michelob Ultra in there, celebrating the draft, celebrating Malik Neighbors, the New York Giants' new number one wide receiver, who's going to go for 1,200 yards this upcoming season, hopefully. I sure hope so. Sean wanted either Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors. He's happy. I'm happy as well. I am also very happy. Neighbors, like I said, guys, a few times on the channel, my number one wide receiver prospect, my favorite player on the draft board for the Giants outside of the quarterbacks. So I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy. Thank you, Nolan. I appreciate it. Not doing it alone, though. I got all of you guys in the chat. Make sure to smash the like button if you're enjoying the stream. Not alone. Have the chat to hang out with, and I'm very grateful and appreciative of all of you. But, yeah, no Alex today. He's got more important things going on, of course. Going to celebrate him and also celebrate the New York Giants making a great draft pick here. So, you know. Ultra. That's my beer of choice. This is an interesting proposition. How do you guys feel if the New York Giants end up trading up into the back end of the first round and taking a quarterback to pair with Malik Neighbors? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that the Giants have enough draft capital, but I guess it's possible. I think that the Giants are just going to stick with Neighbors and Jones and be content with that, which, yeah, guys, I'm a little bit afraid, but I'm very excited for Malik Neighbors. He's going to be a great player for the New York Giants. He's got great potential. I mean, if you're not happy with this pick, I don't know what to tell you. Malik Neighbors is just a tremendous talent. Truly. There you go. This is a good question. Max Melton, Braden Fisk at the second round. I have Max Melton in the second round to the Giants in one of my mock drafts. I think there's a very good chance of that happening. We'll see, though. I got to see what the draft board looks like at the end of the day. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. Hey, man, Drew Lock isn't afraid to throw it up there, so hopefully Drew Lock gives him some chances because I know that my guy Malik Neighbors is going to go up there and make the play. He's going to pull down those contested catches. You know, not at the level that Rome Odunze would. Rome Odunze is the better contested catch receiver, but I believe that the most translatable skill from college to the pros for a wide receiver is separation. And then Malik Neighbors can separate and get himself open. He's going to be a great selection for the New York Giants. Cheers, Danny. Trade up for Kool-Aid. That would be exciting, man. I do love Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think this is a really good cornerback class, and I don't know what the pick is going to be for the New York Giants in round 2, but I do believe cornerback is going to be one of their priority targets, and we'll see who they end up taking. J.C. Latham to the Tennessee Titans. A little bit surprising. We are seeing a little bit of a fall here now, potentially, for Rome Odunze. He could wind up 8 at Atlanta, 9 to Chicago, I think would be his floor. 10 to the Jets would be the absolute floor. No trades. Can you guys believe it? All the teams that want quarterbacks, and no trades have happened for a QB quite yet. I mean, you've got the Minnesota Vikings who need a QB and want one. And we're calling all the way up to 3 for a quarterback and haven't made a call now to move up at any other point for a quarterback. That's interesting to me. We know that they were calling for Drake May. Maybe teams aren't super high on J.J. McCarthy. Hey, man, it is possible that one of these quarterbacks falls significantly further than we expect them to, isn't it? Will Levis last year. Anybody remember that? Will Levis was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Will Levis did not become a top 5 pick. He became a second-round pick. Maybe somebody does fall into the second round and the Giants are able to take them. I like the ideas that you guys are sending into the chat. It's totally possible. Of course, you guys know I wanted that Drake May trade. It didn't happen, but I am happy now with Malik Neighbors, guys. I'm going to flash my new jersey for everybody one more time. I've already got the Malik Neighbors jersey. I'm telling you, the New York Giants told me early. This is how you guys know that I'm good at predicting these mock drafts, because I had to do this before the draft started. You would have seen me if I was doing it on the stream. I did this hours ago. Earlier today, I sent this into the chat, said I already got my Neighbors jersey. I am freaking hyped, guys. I am so excited about Malik Neighbors being a New York Giant. I can't even begin to tell you how excited this makes me. So it's going to be great. Malik Neighbors, baby. Malik Neighbors. I'm very happy about this. I do not think that Daniel Jones has given up his number. I'm being a little bit funny having the Daniel Jones jersey with the tape on the back saying Neighbors. I do believe, though, that Malik Neighbors will wear 88. That's going to be my guess, but we'll see. We shall see. My jersey's fired. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think everybody should put some tape on the back of their jerseys when they can. I know that Alex did the same thing. He had a Saquon Barkley jersey, and he put Singletary on the back. That was pretty good. Sam said he's disappointed that we didn't get a top quarterback. I am too, but I do love Malik Neighbors just like you, so I'm very happy about this. Very, very happy. So now that we took Malik Neighbors in the first round, what do the Giants do in the second round? I think that it's going to be very intriguing to see which direction they go. But cornerback would be my guess. I will guess that it's going to be corner. But if it's not corner, then I think that it's probably going to be QB. It's possible. Maybe the Giants take a quarterback. I don't know. It'll be really interesting. I think someone texted me a spoiler for this Falcons pick. Did they just do something crazy, guys? Don't say it below. I'm about to react to this, but did something happen here? Fabrizio, good to see you. I do Fireside Rangers. I just don't do it as often as I used to. The draft, the Giants, I've been so busy. I've been caught up in a lot of New York Giants content, so I haven't been doing Rangers as much, but I did an episode this week. Go check it out. I think it was actually 2 days ago. All lost now because what just happened? What just happened? Why were there fireworks? I don't know what just happened. I've never seen that happen before. I did not do that intentionally. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, I'm still on Fireside Rangers and I uploaded an episode with them earlier this week. Go check it out. I'm planning to be on there a whole lot more now that the NFL draft is over. I don't know what the fireworks were. Nick Reyes says, OBJ and Neighbors, should the Giants sign Odell Beckham Jr., bring him home? Yeah, I'm so excited for Neighbors that I made fireworks start exploding from the back of my mind. I don't know how I did that, but that was cool. That's how I feel about Malik Neighbors, guys. Let's see what happens here. Number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm interested. I'm seeing what you guys are saying in the chat about the Falcons. I'm not believing it until I see it right here. Not believing it. All right, what's Atlanta doing? You guys are scaring me in the chat. There's no way that they just did what you guys are saying that they did. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. There's no chance. There's no way. Michael Penix Jr. Wow. Holy cow. What? Oh my goodness. Now that's freaking crazy. What in the world? Yeah, right? Man. If JJ falls to the second, the Giants better take him. That's how I'm feeling. But I think he's going number 11 to Minnesota. So Michael Penix Jr., number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. What? What? Wow. They paid Kirk Cousins how much? Guys, with all of the injury history to Michael Penix, on top of the fact that the Falcons just signed Kirk Cousins to such a long-term deal and such an expensive deal, this is an absolute stunner. This is the biggest shock of the draft so far. Wow. Hey, you know what, though? You make a good point here, DBM. That's how you stay competitive. Maybe that is a good point. Maybe the Falcons are ahead of the curve here, similar to how the Green Bay Packers were when they took Aaron Rodgers, sat him for a few years, he took over. They took Jordan Love, sat him for a few years, he took over. Maybe that's what the Falcons envision with Michael Penix. I don't know. I'm shocked right now, though. I can't believe that this just happened. Now, Chicago Bears are on the clock, or actually the pick is in. I think they're going to take Rome Odunze. I think they want to get another playmaker in there, but I wouldn't sleep on Byron Murphy Jr., defensive lineman, being the selection for them. But wow, I can't believe Michael Penix. Can't believe this selection. Wow. I wonder how far JJ McCarthy falls. I wonder how far he falls. Wonder if he's going to become an option for the Giants. Guys, I am so happy about Malik Neighbors to the New York Giants, though. Wow, Mel Kiper just said that the Raiders were trying to trade up for Michael Penix, and that's ultimately why the Falcons decided to take him at 8. That's interesting. Fabrizio, I'm not sure that they're going to go edge rusher in the second. Safety is definitely a possibility, but I do believe that cornerback is going to be the Giants' top target going into tomorrow night, but we'll ultimately see. It's going to be interesting. What are you guys predicting for the stats on Malik Neighbors as a rookie? Drop the stat predictions down below in the comment section. I said 1,200 yards earlier. Maybe I'm just a little excited, but I am curious to know what you guys are thinking with Malik Neighbors and what his stats are going to be down below. Chicago Bears pick is in. They're about to make their selection. I hope you're right with this one. This is a moderate and realistic stat line for a rookie wide receiver like Neighbors. I could see 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Rome Odunze to the Bears. Gotta love that for Chicago. So I guess this is what Bears Max was dropping earlier about Rome Odunze, the text that he got from the agent. Guess he knew. Bears Max knew that he was going to the Bears. Interesting enough. Good call out from Max Smith. 77 for 1050 and 9. Man, if he puts up 9 touchdowns, I'd be freaking thrilled. 94 receptions, 12 touchdowns. Possible. 8 touchdowns, 945. With DJ quarterback, probably 800. 804 touchdowns. Still Jones throwing to him. Yeah, it is. Wide receivers are dependent on their quarterback, so we'll see. Minnesota traded up one spot with the New York Jets. I have to imagine that this is for J.J. McCarthy in order to prevent the Denver Broncos from moving up here. I would assume that that's what's happening. I guess we'll see in a second here. Sam's asking if JJ falls past the Vikings, will the Giants trade back into the first for him? He'd have to fall really far for that to become a possibility, and I'm not sure that that's going to happen. But we'll see. We will see. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure. First trade of the night. One spot. Minnesota Vikings moving up one spot to make sure that nobody could take McCarthy from them. I got to assume that this is going to be the McCarthy pick. Very unfortunate for us McCarthy believers out there that wanted to see him wear Giants blue. But, hey, what are you going to do? This is just nature of the game, I guess, huh? I agree. This was a wild selection, but hey, man, guess they wanted to develop their guy for a while. I'm excited to see J.J. McCarthy play for the Vikings. I think that is a perfect landing spot for him with Kevin O'Connell, Jordan Addison, and of course, Justin Jefferson. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that Vikings offense if he pans out into becoming a good quarterback. I'm not mad. I'm happy with Malik Neighbors. Listen, I would have loved for a quarterback, but I think Malik Neighbors is special. I think he's the best wide receiver prospect in this year's draft class, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud. I really do. Yeah, Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt. Listen, Jalen Hyatt is still a young guy, still a young player who's developing. I think that he's got a lot of opportunity to turn into a really good player in the future. And I think that having Malik Neighbors is going to help Jalen Hyatt develop further. I think that having that true primary receiving threat on the New York Giants is going to open things up for the other wide receivers. Malik Neighbors takes pressure off of the shoulders of Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and Jalen Hyatt. I think that's absolutely a true statement. And so we could see a big breakout from not only Neighbors as the Giants' new receiving threat, but also from Jalen Hyatt. I think we could see him take a huge step forward next season. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be very, very exciting. Yeah, Neighbors was ranked the third best player overall in this year's draft. That's true. By many accounts. Many sites had him at 3 behind Caleb and Marv. A lot of accounts had him a little bit further. I don't know where PFF had him. I think they had him 4, but I like him better than Marv. Personally, I'm very happy with this. I think the Giants got an absolute stud playmaker. And if you guys want to go back on the channel and look at my track record on picks for the Giants and picks for players and wide receivers, I'm usually pretty good. So I'm a believer in Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be an absolute superstar for the Giants. 5 QBs taken already. I think there's going to be 6 in the first round, which is pretty incredible that there's so many draft picks going to the QB position. Richard, I think that as a product coming out of college, Malik Neighbors is a better prospect than Odell was coming out. Odell was just very hungry and had a lot of passion that he played with, which made him an excellent player at the NFL level. We'll see what happens, of course, with Malik Neighbors and the New York Giants. Of course, you never know about these draft picks. You got to give them a few years to develop, but absolutely think the potential is there for him to be better than Odell long term. So I'm very excited. Anthony, the Jets and the Vikings swapped picks just now. Maybe the Giants can make a trade back tonight or tomorrow. We need tight ends because I don't think Waller's coming back. Yeah, I don't think that Brock Bowers is going to be a solution for the Giants. He's going to go within the next probably 5 picks here if I had to imagine. But in the second round, maybe not. Third round, maybe. I think that there are some tight ends that the Giants could target later on in the draft. Ben Sinnott being one of them. Theo Johnson, Tavion Sanders, I believe his name is. There are some tight end prospects out there for the New York Giants to consider. But ultimately, I think that Anthony, shout out to you, is right about this. The Giants are probably going to go cornerback at 47, I believe. Is this true? Is there something going on? Because obviously I'm not plugged into everything right now dealing with the stream. Is there a trade going on? I'm not sure. Yeah, listen, man, if you want to go tight end or wide receiver in the first round, I think you prefer wide receiver over tight end. And I think you're not alone in this one, but OBJ, what a pick he was and what a player he was until he was traded. LDE has an interesting question for me right here. Who was taking the first snap as quarterback for the Giants game 1? Great question. So to answer this question, my opinion on this is that Daniel Jones is going to take the first snap for the Giants. He's going to be the Giants starting quarterback this upcoming season. But we'll see how it goes throughout the year. If he's not playing well, I think that the Giants are going to have that, of course, idea of his injury clause, the injury guarantee in his contract in the back of their minds, and maybe they'll make a move later on in the season. But Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback, I think. Daniel Jones did tear his ACL. He's expected to be healthy and ready to play at the start of training camp. But we'll see ultimately what happens there and whether or not he's able to get on the field in time for the start of the regular season. I think that he will be ready for the start of the regular season. But as we discussed in last night's live stream, big question mark as to how healthy he'll be and how rusty he might be at the start of the season, considering, of course, he's going to be missing all of the OTAs and voluntary workouts. I think that he'll be healthy for game 1. I just think that he'll be rusty week 1. And that's kind of the concern is Daniel Jones rusty week 1. How good of a player is that going to be on the field? That's a big question mark, especially having to relearn how to play the position now with a new knee, basically. I had to get his knee reconstructed. So it's going to be really interesting. I think the Jets are probably going to go Bowers. They could go tackle. We'll see. So J.J. McCarthy goes to the Minnesota Vikings. So my dream of the Giants being able to trade up for him at the end of the first round is officially dead, as I knew it would be. I knew that wasn't a real possibility. But I got to say, guys, I think McCarthy to the Vikings, it's a great fit. If you want to look at the players that he'll be playing with, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You want to look at the coaching staff, Kevin O'Connell. There's a lot of talent there for JJ McCarthy, and they're going to build an offense around him that I think is really going to maximize his skill set. And I think that ultimately we're going to see a very good quarterback in Minnesota. I do believe in JJ McCarthy. All right, so we're going to bring on our next guest here. Many of you guys are probably familiar with this guy. Introduce him in just a second. It was a lot more fun to talk quarterback. I really did believe that the Giants were going to go playmaker. I didn't think they were going to get a quarterback as badly as I wanted them to. I didn't know it was going to be Malik Neighbors, but I'm happy that it is. I wanted the QB, but I'm happy with Neighbors for sure. With Neighbors, do you think Dable needs a good year to stay the head coach? Yeah, I think that Dable needs a year no matter what. No matter how this draft went, I wanted Brian Dable to continue to be the quarterback or the head coach for the New York Giants. And hey, so was I. I was really hyped up for a QB and I really wanted one, but really wanted one, but I'm happy with Neighbors. All right, so our next guest is coming in here to join the panel. We got Ryan Garcia.
Hello, everybody.
Joining us in, fellow ESM member, Fireside Yankees. I'm sure you're all familiar with him. If not, go check out Fireside Yankees. Great stuff over there. Ryan, how are you feeling after the Giants made that pick of Malik Neighbors in the first round?
Yeah, so obviously, initially you're kind of disappointed because of the whole Drake May thing, but I think we're kind of at the point where it was no longer a possibility. Once the draft kicked off, if there was going to be a trade, it was going to happen before then, I imagine. Neighbors is a really good receiver. Like, the Giants have gotten better, right? Like, I think it's kind of undoubtedly better. I view him as somebody who is going to give us actual, like, it's going to be nice to have a number one receiver for sure. Obviously, you question the ability to get who's going to throw him the ball, whatever it may be. But we're talking about somebody who's a game changer. You tweeted about, a lot of videos and really helpful information about his athletic and his just game impact. RAS had him at a 9.88 score. I believe it's unofficial because of the 40-yard dash. And that one was on his pro day and not on the combine. So it's technically unofficial. But again, like, you can't criticize the Giants for taking Malik Neighbors over JJ McCarthy if they didn't really believe in JJ McCarthy, right? Like, it's that simple. They picked who I think was the best receiver available at that point, the best player available at that point. It's good draft process. They're making the best of the situation they have. They obviously wanted Drake May, but getting Malik Neighbors, I think, is better than the other options on the board at that point.
No, definitely. I think the Giants did go best player available. I've been very clear on this channel the way that I feel about Malik Neighbors and how I have him as my number one wide receiver in this draft class. I know that that's not the consensus selection. Everybody feels that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver in the class. That's obviously why he went as the first wide receiver on the board. But I've always felt like Malik Neighbors' potential is higher, and his ability to make plays after the catch, his ability to make plays down the field, just a really special player. Tremendous talent, extreme athlete. And what the New York Giants got here is an absolute difference maker on the offensive side of the ball. We do have a lot of people. This is 3 comments in a row right here talking about Spencer Rattler in the second round. And I am curious, Ryan, because I know that you were big time on the Giants trying to get a quarterback in the first round. I know that you were, like me, on the JJ McCarthy train. You would have been happy with it if they took McCarthy. But ultimately, no QB in round 1. Are you now in the boat where it's like, okay, you didn't get a QB round 1, I don't want one at all? Or are you saying round 2, you got to try and get your guy?
The way I look at it is, it's, again, like, I'm kind of viewing it as not best player available exactly. Like, it depends on who's available in the second round in the quarterback situation. But the history of second round quarterbacks isn't great. Obviously, you look at your own division, and Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott were the 2 best quarterbacks in the division, or at least prior to the draft. Obviously, we'll see how Daniels changes that dynamic. They're not first round picks, so I guess you could use them as an example of non-first round picks panning out, but you would consider them like outliers. There's a reason why their development and their success was so kind of encapsulating the NFL world. It's because non-first round quarterbacks typically don't have a lot of success in the NFL. But I will say I think there is an incentive to pick up a quarterback. I think Rattler makes sense because of the upside. This is a guy who formerly was considered a round one potential pick back when he was still with Oklahoma. You kind of hope that maybe you can tap into that potential again. I don't want to take a guy like Bo Nix personally because I think he's going to be picked like in the early parts of the second round. And I think you'd either have to one, maybe trade up, or two, maybe you're passing on a really quality NFL player. You don't have, like, you're not drafting a guy who you're building your franchise around. I think that's what you have to accept that reality at this point. I'm not willing to pass up on a really, if the Giants don't feel really strongly about a quarterback, they're not going to take him, sure. But if they feel really strongly about a non-quarterback at this point forward, they shouldn't force a quarterback pick in the second round. Maybe in the third round with Rattler, but I wouldn't force anything in the second round.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. If Rattler happens to fall to them in round 3 and it just becomes great value, then, you take the value selection. But this is a team with a lot of holes. And I think that that's what their first round pick in Malik Neighbors indicated, right? They just want to take the best player that they possibly can and just build out this team and add talent because they don't have a lot of it. They need more talent. So Malik Neighbors in the first, reaching on a Spencer Rattler in round 2, it's debatable whether or not you think that's a reach. I would consider that to be a reach. I'm not a fan of Rattler in the second. I'm taking the best cornerback available probably if I'm the New York Giants, or if I'm going best player available. We'll see what position it is, but I think that's ultimately the approach that they need to take. Keep building this roster. You wanted to get your QB in the first round. Okay, it didn't work out for you. Now you build up this roster, getting into a position where maybe next year a quarterback falls into your lap. Hopefully you get lucky and you get your guy in 2025. But once you have this roster built up, then that quarterback falls into your lap. Now you're really cooking. If the Giants drafted Drake May, they drafted J.J. McCarthy, whoever it was this offseason, that player was going to have struggles because the team around him was not very good. So now that the Giants weren't able to get their quarterback, build the roster, make it really nice so that whoever steps into it next year can feel very confident and have a good rookie season, hopefully take you to the playoffs. I think that's got to be the ultimate goal now. So the Giants tomorrow, I'm hoping that they go best player available, just continue to add talent to this team.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, if you're the New York Giants, if you're Joe Shane, if you're even, from a fan perspective as well, they tried as hard as they could for Drake May. It's not like they chose not to pick Drake May. They chose to do what, they did everything they could. It is what it is. Sometimes you're not able to get your guy. It is what it is. At this point, I feel confident they can add enough talent to, you're not building around Daniel Jones at this point. You're just building up the roster, and he happens to be the quarterback. Again, if they're able to pick up, I like Rattler as a third round. I agree. I would not select him in the second round. There's just too much talent available and too many holes in this roster. And, you never know. You may stumble into a guy, later in the draft. There is that outlier chance that, at this point, if you're going to bank on a second rounder becoming a regular starter, what's the difference between banking on a second or a fourth rounder? Is the success rate dramatically different enough in percentage points where you have to pick them in the second round? Sometimes you get lucky. You're betting on luck this year at quarterback anyways. It is what it is. Your fate was sealed the second May went off the board at 3, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really wish that the Giants were somehow on the clock at 3 and that Drake May went off the board to the Giants, but what are you going to do here? Obviously, they made the most of the situation they were at with the number 6 pick. So we've got another guest joining us on this panel, Bears Max. He's been on the channel, I believe once or twice long ago in the past. Used to be a member of Fireside Bears back when that was a thing here at ESM. But trust Max's opinion on the NFL and on the NFL draft. So bringing him in as well on this discussion. We've done a lot of discussions about the New York Giants throughout the offseason. I'm going to bounce for just a second because it's been 2 hours and I have not used the restroom. So I'm going to let you guys go at it and talk about New York Giants. I'll give you guys the topic here and say, let's talk about round 2, looking ahead to the Giants. Which positions are you guys going to prioritize for them? Ryan, kick it off, go back and forth with Max, and I'll be back in just a minute.
Yeah, I'm going corner. I think, first and foremost, it's our first time talking. So I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you, my man.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm going corner. Again, best player available. I'm flexible to any addition, but I think that the secondary needs help. I view cornerback as a very valuable position. I think value of the position matters a lot in the draft and in terms of player, what you're acquiring. They obviously, they could use help anywhere, but I think that's kind of where I look at them and say they're going to get pressure, their pass rush and their run stopping. I think they're both going to be at least average to above average in that regard, if not great. I need them to be great at preventing, those to not getting the top blown off of them on the secondary. So that's really where I'm at there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had the pleasure of watching a good amount of Giants game this year, and there are holes across the roster regardless. The Bears were in a similar situation, but the Giants last year, of course, spent their first round pick at the position, and Deontay Banks, right? He had a really good year, relatively speaking, and they lost Xavier McKinney, so their secondary issues. So I would probably agree with that. I think that definitely makes sense, but there's also question marks at the line as well. But just the way that this draft is set up is there's so much depth at the secondary. There's going to be a ton of guys that go at the end of the first round, like Kool-Aid. You still have Kenyon Mitchell, who's still on the board. So there's an opportunity there just because of how these things shook up that now Michael Penix is out at the mid round. And you have some question marks about who's going to go at like 15 or 16. Because, a lot of people, myself included, had him going around there. So some of those quarterback needy teams like the Raiders or the Broncos. So there are just some question marks there. But yeah, I think the cornerback definitely makes a lot of sense for the Giants. And if not, I'm probably looking to get some more offensive line help because Evan Neal's just not the answer, especially if you're trying to build around that quarterback position, which it very much clearly looks like that's what the Giants are trying to do. They're taking that traditional approach of, okay, we're not just going to get this guy and hope that it's going to work out. We're going to try to build around that quarterback and make sure that we can, whoever, plug him in. And Anthony's already got his Malik Neighbors jersey from Temu. That's I didn't know they were that fast. So that's pretty impressive.
It's because I knew the pick for like 2 weeks in advance. Brian Dable and I were tight. He told me that Neighbors was going to be the selection. So I was already ready and prepared. I had this for a couple weeks now.
It's incredible.
Yeah, hope you guys like that. Malik Neighbors, number 8. He's going to go up to Daniel Jones and just go snatch that jersey right off of him. He's going to put his own name on there. That's what I'm hoping for. So,
yeah, speaking of quarterbacks, Bo Nix just went to the Broncos. So,
wow.
I'm not like, again, I think you judge a pick. It's hard to judge a pick the day it happens, but I have a lot of questions about the Penix pick. Bo Nix, I'm willing to give the Broncos a little bit of it's a quarterback. I think it's a reach. But they are a quarterback needy team. They don't really have, they couldn't go in free agency and do anything because of the dead cap hit. A lot of guys I kind of thought would go back end first round or even early second round are just off the board. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, this basically means that there's one quarterback left on the board that's like worth taking, and that's Spencer Rattler, which is crazy.
Yeah, out of the guys that have starter upside, it's pretty much Rattler, and then you're just hoping for a nice developmental backup piece and like the Michael Pratt and, of course, my boy Jordan Travis, who lives 5 minutes from me. I love him, and I hope that he succeeds in the NFL. Proves me wrong, but yeah, shout out Jordan Travis. But you're right about that. If you want to go quarterback in this draft now, I mean, the dreams that Giants fans had of maybe taking Bo Nix in the second round or trading back up into the first round, well, that died rather quickly. So, and that's something that I expected. I thought that the Denver Broncos, no matter which quarterback was on the board for them at 12, they had to go quarterback. Look at that quarterback room. What is it? Jared Stidham and Ben DiNucci. That's all they had. So yeah. Bo Nix is probably going to start for them immediately, which is going to be really interesting to watch. But yeah, no Bo Nix for the New York Giants. So again, I guess to reframe that question that I asked at the beginning, is quarterback going to be an option for the New York Giants on day 2? Do you think that Spencer Rattler will even last to a selection where they can feel comfortable taking him now that so many quarterbacks have dropped off the board? In my opinion, no. I think Rattler is going to go much earlier than he's supposed to now because so many quarterbacks are flying off the board. And I think that he could go pretty early on day 2. And if I'm the Giants, I'm not taking him that early on day 2. And now that Bo Nix is off the board and not going to make it to the second round, I'm probably just punting on the quarterback situation and hoping to figure it out in 2025. Ryan, are you kind of in the same boat as me, or do you think that maybe there still is a chance at Rattler?
Yeah, I mean, at this rate, it feels like a team is going to take him in like the first, maybe even. I mean, he could go before the 40th pick at this point, right? At this rate, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure because obviously draft day trades, things could happen, movement could happen. I'm not using the second round pick on him. And look, I don't like have. It's not like I dislike Rattler or anything like that. I think I actually was for having him in the organization, but not at a second round price. And I don't even like, he might not even fall to us. We might not even get a chance to pick him up. Like, that's kind of the craziest part. I don't think, I mean, again, maybe I just didn't read draft trends right enough, but I did not expect us to be sitting here and saying that like at 47 or at 40, whatever range, we're talking about where it'd be appropriate to pick up a guy like Penix or whatever it may be, that both Knicks and Penix would be gone. I'm personally stunned. I'm floored.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked. The Penix selection to the Atlanta Falcons was one that I think that we heard here and there from, some sources, but it was always like, nah, no chance. It was like long shot. It felt like it was just smoke screens. The fact that that's the one out of all of these random rumors that came true is pretty shocking to me. I can't believe that Michael Penix to the Atlanta Falcons is actually a reality. Max, it looks like you've got some pretty strong opinions on that one.
I just don't understand why you go out and bring in Kirko and then turn around and you basically make Kirk Cousins the most expensive rental car of all time. Absolutely zero reason for them to do that. I understand the next guy up mentality. Michael Penix has some bangs, some injuries. He's kind of a lemon, maybe. We don't know for sure. But why waste a top 10 pick on that? That makes zero sense to me. We gave them a lot of shade last year for what they did. What was it for taking Bijan that early? At least I know there were a few of us that were like, well, this makes no sense to be able, the Falcons were always BPA. That's kind of how they always operated, right? Even if it didn't really make sense roster-wise, that's what they were going to do. This, again, feels like, okay, we already have a solid quarterback. We brought in Kirk Cousins. We're going to take the best player available at the position. When he's not even the best player available at the position, it makes zero sense to me. So I don't know. I have a hard time understanding this when there were tons of other guys on the board that made more sense. Atlanta could have used a defensive player, right? Atlanta could have used J.C. Latham. That would have made sense if it didn't go. But I could have taken Romo Dunze, right? They didn't have a ton of wide receiver talent available outside of Drake London. So maybe you could help out your Kirk Cousins there. Alone Fashanu was there. You could help protect him. So I don't know. There's just a ton of questions there. But just throwing this out there, since we're talking about quarterbacks, Spencer Rattler, the only place that makes sense for him now at this point, randomly, is if we're talking about day two, because now there's such a rush at quarterback. There's only basically, the pool is dry, the well is dry already. It's Raiders at pick 44. It has to be, right? If they just took Brock Bowers, they desperately need a quarterback. You're probably going to take the shot at day two. You didn't want to, but now you're like, well, shoot, what do we do here?
The Bowers pick just surprised me. I didn't think that the Raiders were a team, but I guess it makes sense because they're kind of a team that likes to go BPA, just take the best player available no matter the position and no matter the need. I guess that was Brock Bowers. What's the record on latest that a defensive player has been taken is my question now, because we're getting up to pick 14. And I don't think the Saints are going to go defense. The Colts probably, they could. But we're going through 13 selections, all offense. I wonder if we're nearing an NFL record in this wild 2024 first round of the NFL draft. I'm curious if you guys can find the info.
So according to this article, since the NFL merger in 1970, it's only once it's taken to the number 8 for a defensive player to be drafted, and that was J.C. Horn. We are well past that point. So
wow.
Yeah. I'm just, it's stunning. It really is. I didn't even think look, I'm not saying Dallas Turner is like some generational player. I just didn't think he'd fall that far. And then furthermore, just the Falcons, I really think it's like a generationally bad pick. Again, you judge a pick.
I agree.
I think it's generationally bad. If you're going to take a quarterback, McCarthy makes more sense. He's younger. He actually makes sense as a developmental quarterback. Penix is 24. Are you going to wait till he's 26, 27 to get him consistent NFL action? I'm not saying that it's impossible for him to be a good NFL quarterback, but that's his entire rookie contract essentially. The entire, and you're paying him a good, it's not like he's cheap. At the 8th overall pick is not cheap towards your cap. So you're paying a decent amount of money for your backup quarterback when you just paid for your starting quarterback on an incomplete roster in an NFC that is kind of, it's the 49ers. They're clearly the best team, but everything else is kind of up in the air. If you, let's say you drafted Dallas Turner and he ended up being this star defensive end, or you drafted Rome, and I think he's a really good receiver, and he ended up being, a star level receiver, whatever it may be. that instantly floats your ceiling, your ceiling from like, you're a fun little interesting playoff team in a weak division to, hey, you could do something, right? I'm not saying I don't think anybody, but I don't think it was a consensus opinion to send the Lions to the NFC Championship game. The Packers were a couple of mistakes away from going to the NFC Championship game. There is a world where the Lions make a couple of mistakes. The Packers don't make a couple of self-inflicted mistakes, and like one of the Lions or Packers are in the Super Bowl. And in one game, anything can happen. So I'm not really understanding what the Falcons' thought process here. The NFC is not going to be easier to play in 2 or 3 years. It's not like, speaking of the Bears, they're going to have a year 2, year 3 Caleb Williams, and you want to try to compete in the NFC then? That's not, I don't think that's a reasonable window with 38-year-old Kirk Cousins. It just doesn't make sense. You sign Kirk Cousins to win now. You don't sign him to mentor a quarterback who's 24. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I'm in agreement with you.
The Saints pick is in. And one thing I want to point out is I think if I'm a GM in the NFL, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, or if I'm, the Minnesota Vikings, especially if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, because I'm not that desperate at quarterback, say, that the Minnesota Vikings are. If I see that the New York Giants, who just got gifted JJ McCarthy in paper wrap, right, or Michael Penix, or literally any other quarterback on the board, and they opt to take the best wide receiver available instead of the quarterback available, that raises red flags to me, right? Because if a team who is just as quarterback needy as anyone else, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I do as like an outsider, just as quarterback needy as anyone else, evaluates these guys more so than probably, anyone else. Someone that's had JJ McCarthy in their building twice, has thrown around with him on a holiday, who knows the playbook essentially already, says, you know what? We're going to go with a wide receiver instead. That to me is a huge red flag. These guys have probably done more homework on the kid than I have, just because of where they're sitting in the draft. And I'm going to rush up and take this guy. I don't know, right? Like, that's a crazy bet. Like, essentially what you're doing is you're walking into the casino here and just throwing it on a roulette table and saying, maybe this works out, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I really don't like, and I like JJ McCarthy. I've seen some YouTube videos. I'm really high on him. But I'm just saying it really would like raise some alarms for me if I'm taking these guys immediately after a team that could have, but didn't. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way, but the Saints are about to announce.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point there with the Giants, because there were a few reporters, I think it was namely Art Stapleton and Ryan Dunleavy in particular, mentioned how if JJ McCarthy's on the board, they believe that the Giants would end up taking him because of the Easter Sunday meeting. The fact that they went out of their way to go to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and have a meeting with JJ McCarthy on a holiday almost screamed like, we're going to draft this guy no matter what, right? That's what it looked like. And then you had JJ McCarthy's appearance on the Rich Eisen show earlier this week, where he pretty much said, yeah, I have a good idea of where I'm going. The New York Giants seem really interested in me. Everything pointed towards the New York Giants wanting McCarthy. So you do make a good point where they had him on the board, and then they had these wide receivers on the board. And we all know the hit rate on first-round quarterbacks versus first-round wide receivers, big discrepancy there. And the Giants went with the wide receiver instead. So I wonder what that says about their evaluation of JJ McCarthy. Was all of the work that they put in legitimate? Were there a bunch of smoke screens that they were putting out? I think it's a very interesting case study now if we look back on the New York Giants and the way that they handled this current now quarterback draft class. It's very interesting to see that they went through all of that work with McCarthy just to go ahead and pass on him.
Saints win offense. Halisi Fuaga, offensive tackle, Oregon State. That is the last.
The Saints needed a tackle so badly.
That is the last offensive player out of the top 10 on like the NFL big board.
Wow.
Sorry, top 15. It's now pure defensive players. So Jared Verse and Dallas Turner and Quinion Mitchell are their top left.
Yeah. So defense has to come soon, I would assume. But
I assume the Colts are gonna. I mean, it makes sense. Colts are old school like that.
I will say this too, this kind of boat. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. And I guess this draft is another example of you really don't know what's going to happen on draft day until draft day actually occurs. But I think the slew of defensive players falling does bode well for the Giants, because I would like to see them improve a little. I'm not saying they need That's saying that like they have Brian Burns. They made some very notable additions on that side of the ball. But if there's a really stout defensive player available, again, I just look at the Giants and say I just want as much talent there as possible. It's just not a good roster, right? Like I think even the playoff year, you'd look at them and saying going into the year, it was a bad roster that just found a way. You know what I mean? You just need talent. You need to figure out the talent situation at this point. You're just not talented enough. And I think they have the coaching staff in place to maximize it. Again, the fact that they're not picking number 1 overall this year is almost a testament to how good they are at maximizing, or not how good they are, but their ability to maximize the talent on the roster. I'm excited to see what they do in the second round.
Yeah, me too. And I think you do make a good point there. And it is something important to note that defensive players not coming off of the board early pushes defensive talent into round 2. And with no cornerback off the board yet, and I think that's something really important to note, because there were a lot of fans who thought, maybe McCarthy would come off the board a little bit earlier. That would cause the Vikings to go corner. Quinyon Mitchell maybe there, maybe Terrion Arnold, whoever you had there is your number 1 corner. No corners off the board yet, as we're sitting here with the Indianapolis Colts at 15. They very well could take a corner, but we'll see here. Maybe corners are going to be pushed down the board and fall, and that could leave a very solid player early on day 2 if the Giants want to trade up, or maybe even all the way down into the 47th overall pick where the New York Giants are picking. I do like the way that this draft is falling now for the Giants' needs, how cornerback is one of them for sure. It could absolutely be pushed down the board and fall into the Giants' lap here. That could be a really exciting proposition for the second round of the draft.
Yeah, Giants are shaped up pretty well here. They're in a really good position, specifically also at the linebacker position, which is pretty weak for them. There's still some talent. It's a weak class altogether, but there's some really solid linebackers that will be available day 2. It's very obvious at this point now. So good for New York. They stuck to their guns. I'm sure they received offers. I'm sure they tried to move up, like we was reported, up to 3, but they weren't able to do it. So what's going to be really interesting, though, is I think that towards the end of this first round, there's going to be a run at the cornerback position. I do, because I think there's just too many talented cornerbacks available. And a lot of these teams that we're looking at, say the Packers, say the Buccaneers, say the Bills, say the Lions, they're in an arms race now. They're in divisions that have solid quarterbacks, solid wide receivers. They need to up their defense, right? Some of these teams already have relatively strong defenses, but how do you react to a Chicago Bears drafting Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze? How do you react to the Giants bringing in Malik Neighbors? How do you react to a Jaden Daniels in your division now? You draft a good young cornerback that ideally can run with them and be a problem with them throughout their careers, right? So I think there's going to be a run here towards these teams that are looking down at some of these, teams that are looking up at them and going, okay, well, now is our turn to respond, and we're going to take some cornerbacks.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. And also, Morton asks a good question related to that point. At what point is it realistic for Giants GM Joe Schoen to move up for a cornerback? I think that's a great question, because as these players start to move down the board, and as Max mentions, there could very well be a run on cornerback talent towards the end of the first round. Do the Giants try to move up and get involved with that? Now we know Joe Schoen, one of the most aggressive GMs in the NFL. He loves to make trades. Talking the Brian Burns trade, talking the Jalen Hyatt trade, the Deonte Banks trade, traded up twice in last year's draft. I think you guys got to realize how rare that is for a GM to trade up twice in the first 3 rounds of a draft. It's not out of the question for him to try and move up here in the second round, maybe into the back end of the first round, and solidify CB2. So, Ryan, how do you feel about this question? What is your answer to it? At what point does it become realistic? Who has to be on the board? Or at what point in the draft order do you think the Giants could get up to if they want to move up and go ahead and take a quarterback or a cornerback?
Yeah, so I guess the question is, again, number one, obviously their evaluation of these guys. Again, like the McCarthy thing, it is pretty telling. Like, I'm not going to lie. I thought the second May was taken taken, I was like, okay, McCarthy will be a Giant then. Just based on the fact that the Rich Eisen show quotes, as you mentioned, all that stuff. So, internal evaluation matters a lot. But if there's only two, I'd say if there are 2 corners, maybe 3 taken off the board, but by the time the second, or maybe I'd say if there are 2 corners taken by the time we're around the 25th pick at most two, I think we could see a trade up, because at that point you could pick up CB3 in this draft in the late first round. You absolutely have to take that opportunity. You have to take advantage there. Obviously price dependent, like maybe, and again, like if a team, you can't force a team to trade with you. It takes two teams to agree to a trade. They want to trade up the Patriots didn't want to trade down. So can't do anything about that. If a team in the late first round, and again, we're talking about now Super Bowl contenders, right? Teams that maybe they feel like they're a piece away. If they feel like they're a cornerback away, they're not going to trade down. So I think they're going to do everything they can to explore. I think it's a really intelligent comment of just like, yeah, he's an aggressive GM. The Giants are going to go out and push. I think the Giants do a really good job of exploring all avenues. At least Joe Shane does a really good job of exploring all avenues. And I personally think that if there's a trade up available for a good cornerback, maybe CB3, hopefully CB2, I think they'll do it 100%.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. And a few of the cornerbacks that I really like, I'll even say Terrion Arnold. You guys know I love him. I've talked about him plenty on the channel. And if you want to dive into some other names, I'll pull up my sheet here and talk about some of the guys that I like. If Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia is there early day 2, I don't think he goes in the first round. But if he's there day 2, that's a player that the New York Giants 100% should try and trade up for. He's physical. He's a zone coverage corner. He can play in man as well. But against the run, he's very effective. And I think that's kind of what the Giants like in their corners, because that was a calling card for Deonte Banks coming out of the draft last year. Very physical corner, great tackler, great in man coverage and cover 3 zone. And I think there's a lot of similarities between what Deonte Banks brought to the table last year and what Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia is bringing to the table this year. So that's just one name that I'll throw out there, because I have a really good track history of picking players for the Giants on this channel so far. I did call the Malik Neighbors one, called the Deonte Banks, called John Michael Schmitz and Jalen Hyatt. Kamari Lassiter is going to be one of those names that I circle for you guys and say, stay tuned to day 2 and see if the Giants move up for him if he's there on the board early in day 2. But HO says, Anthony and crew, I'm going to tune out. Might be back up later. Thanks for the stream. Fun time. HO, thanks so much. You were in here the entire time. We really do appreciate your support. And everybody tuned in right now who's been here from the beginning. A lot of you have tuned in for the full 2 hours and 22 minutes. Thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate all the love and support. But yeah, Kamari Lassiter is a cornerback that I like there, but I'm in agreement with you, Ryan, Max as well. If cornerbacks keep getting pushed down the board, I trust in Joe Shane to be the aggressive GM that he always has been, to move up and go ahead and try and get his guy.
Colts win defense. The defensive chips are falling. Seahawks probably, right? Assume defense with Dan Quinn in charge. Trying to rebuild that.
See, this is actually really interesting. Just on the off note, away from the Giants, the fact that Latu went 15 to the Colts is genuinely surprising to me. The injury concerns with him, the medical red flags. I really didn't think that he would be a top 15 pick. This is one of the guys that I was going to bet on to fall in the draft and not go as the first defensive player. Even though he might be the most talented defensive player, I didn't think he would be the first one taken due to the medical history. But good on the Colts for being bold and taking a guy who has just a tremendous amount of talent despite his maybe medical red flags. But I got to say, for the Seahawks here are definitely going with Washington tackle / guard Vaughn now is my guess, but we'll see in just a second. Ryan, you got something to jump in on?
Yeah, I was gonna say, in the situation where we're talking, like, I understand this is going to come off a little bit ironic given what I said about Penix, but a lot of my issues with that draft pick don't really have to do with injury history as much as it has to do with age and kind of their situation. I think that in certain situations, if you feel like you're high enough on a player's talent, you kind of just bet and hope that injury history injuries are something that you can't necessarily always control. I know there are certain injuries that are repetitive and kind of, happen and it's just part of your track record or whatever it may be. But in my opinion, I'd rather a player for a good time, not necessarily a long time, because you don't know how long most NFL careers aren't as long compared to other sports like the NBA, Major League Baseball. I can't speak on hockey because I don't look at hockey data as much, but I think you got to go. I think you take the risk. If your biggest question about a player's health and not talent, like you don't have any concerns about their talent level and what they can produce on an NFL field, I think you can justify that pick 10 out of 10 times. And in the situation with the Colts, like it's not like they needed something like a quarterback, excuse me. They're going to get AR-15 back this upcoming season. We'll see kind of how he continues to progress, but that's a team that, again, that like you just got better, right? If he's healthy, your roster gets a lot better. But if we're talking about health versus talent, I'm taking talent any day of the week. If especially if it's a 15th overall pick, it's not the number 1 overall pick. It's not like a franchise altering decision. If he's injury prone and it just doesn't work out, you can kind of, you know what I mean? You can rebound from that. A GM can live another year.
Yeah, but Dallas Turner was the more talented edge rusher, I think. Latu has frame issues like across the board. He needs to get bigger, I think. Like, I don't know. In pads against some of these tackles, he just doesn't he's a big dude. Don't get me wrong. He's bigger than me, bigger than most of us. But like, I don't know. He's fast, but I've watched a lot of tape. I watched some of his workouts, and I'm just not convinced he's that mauler that the Colts maybe want him to be. But definitely worth taking in the first round. I would agree with you in the sense that just because a guy had an injury issue 2 years ago, he obviously bounced back, put together a really solid career to end his college campaign. He's good enough to have consideration. But I don't know if he was the best edge rusher in this draft. It certainly doesn't deserve to be above some guys. I mean, I'm really big on Jared Verse. I'm sort of big on Dallas Turner, but I wasn't like in love with Latu. But that's just personal opinion, and 15 might be a little high for him, but we'll see. The Seattle's pick just came in.
I'm just going based off internal evaluation. Like, if your internal evaluation of a player is this how you view them, you have to trust it. That's how I view it.
For sure.
I view Latu's talents to be among the best in this class out of the edge rushers. The best. I think it is the best personally. And yeah, I agree with you. It's better to kind of just talk about like what teams value and where their talent evaluation lies. But for Latu, we are talking about a guy that medically retired. And I think that is like a big deal. The fact that he was the first pass rusher taken, the first defensive player taken in this class is rather shocking to me. I can't believe that actually occurred. But I will say maybe highlight the Miami Dolphins taking Jalen Phillips in the first round a couple seasons ago. He also was medically retired, came back, played at UCLA. Pretty much the same story as Latu, and he's turned out to be a good player, but now is on injured reserve because he tore his Achilles on Thanksgiving or Black Friday. So
I just want to put this out there. Latu went to the Indianapolis Colts, and maybe there's a conspiracy here that we should consider, that since the Colts have the combine, maybe they had an unfair advantage in a medical. Maybe they had a little bit extra time with him to determine whether or not he was actually as healthy as other teams. I'm just saying,
possible.
Maybe it's possible. Nothing's out of the theory of
the fix is in. Cancel the draft. It's over.
Right. The fix is in,
investigation
guys.
Now. Yeah.
Like, I can't rationalize it any other way than like, hey, this guy
move the combine to Chicago. Are you trying to get the combine?
No. I'm saying the combine should be in like St. Louis. Like, it should be a completely neutral in the middle of the country, right? Not at some team stadium, because clearly something's like odd here to me. I can't rationalize why in the hell, outside of Chris Ballard, might just be a ridiculous GM and shouldn't have a job in the NFL. Maybe the same situation in the Atlanta Falcons. But that's just my opinion when it comes to this pick, because I'm still wrapping my head around it. It doesn't scream, we're going to help our young quarterback that just got his life handed to him on a silver platter last season. We're going to go out and get this guy that didn't play for 2 years in college.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I can definitely see the concern with that. One thing that I do want to say, though, and to transition this back to the Giants in a way, because you're mentioning struggling to wrap your head around this Colts pick, and I could totally see that. But there are Giants fans right now in our chat struggling to wrap their head around the Giants pick with Malik Neighbors at number 6. And so one of them brought up a good kind of point of conversation that I think we can have here that might be interesting, which is the Giants and taking the quarterback out of the equation, because clearly the Giants were not in love with JJ McCarthy. If they were, they would have taken him at 6. But someone mentioned maybe the Giants should have traded down rather than taking Malik Neighbors at number 6. And I think that you can make a better argument for that rather than forcing the quarterback that you don't love. If you don't love the quarterback, you shouldn't take them. That's my thought process. The Giants clearly didn't love JJ McCarthy, so they didn't take him. But they loved Malik Neighbors more than a trade down package. But should they have taken a trade down package? Ryan, I do want to get your take on that first. I know that you and I kind of off air discussed this recently, the value of wide receivers maybe after the first round and quarterbacks after the first round, that kind of discussion. It is curious that some Giants fans are seemingly upset with this pick and prefer to trade down. How do you feel? Do you think that the Giants should have went in that direction?
Yeah, so just kind of pulling from my Yankees background here. A lot of people kind of overlook the fact that we don't know the offers, we don't know the trade details, we don't know what was offered to them. Right? If they don't get an offer, they don't. If they get an offer they don't like, they don't have to take the trade. Like if it came out, like and this, I think people oftentimes overlook this. There's not a lot of transparency between hypothetical trades, like trades that never come to fruition. Sometimes they get reported upon, but sometimes they don't. We don't know what teams were offering, so I don't think I can sit here and criticize them. I think looking for a trade down would have been smart because of, again, you're kind of looking at it from the perspective of you might have been able to get a QB heavy team or QB needed team to trade up. But I mean, if you're the Broncos, right, like you're thinking, okay, let's say you're the Broncos, you wanted to, or the Vikings or whatever, you wanted to jump some teams in front of you. The teams in front of you don't necessarily perceive as threats to take a quarterback. Maybe they aren't going to be giving up that crazy haul. It's not like JJ McCarthy also is like this must-have quarterback. The Vikings clearly wanted Drake May. The Giants clearly wanted Drake May. That's the quarterback they're willing to give up the Godfather package for, right? The Vikings liked McCarthy enough to take him, but I don't think they liked him enough to make some crazy offer to the Giants or whatever. And then for other teams, like trading up to get a non-quarterback maybe wasn't in their cards. They're just like, all right, we'll just take the best player available. Maybe they didn't have a specific player they wanted to take, whatever it may be. I don't think the Giants should be criticized for a move that we don't know the full details to. And end of the day, like the best way to simplify the decision to draft Neighbors, they got the highest graded receiver in the country last year, and they needed a wide receiver. Even if it doesn't work, you just can't hate the process behind the move. So I don't want to overthink it and try to start, because I know that if he doesn't play the way that people want him to play, hindsight thought process will go back and people will look and say, this is why it was bad process. It was good process. There wasn't many other options they had, and we don't know what teams were offering to trade up and move into that sixth spot.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. It's not like back in 2018 it was when the New York Giants selected Saquon Barkley at number 2 overall. We learned a little while later that the Denver Broncos offered them, like, what was it? The 5th pick, a future first, 2 seconds, just a bunch of capital to move up 3 spots for Sam Darnold is what the Denver Broncos wanted to do. So it's not one of those situations, that's for sure. Whether we find out the details of any packages that the Giants were offered or not, we know that they weren't given anything similar to that. So I don't think that there's a reason to be upset with the New York Giants for taking Malik Neighbors at number 6. At the end of the day, that was the best player available selection. And I know, Max, we've kind of talked about this before. That's my number 1 receiver in the class, and I think he's a truly dynamic and special player. And this is a home run pick for the Giants, minus the fact that they need a quarterback, and we would have loved to see them get that. But the Patriots just wouldn't budge, and so they had to make do with what they had. And I do stand pat on the belief that if you're not in love with JJ McCarthy or whichever quarterback at number 6, you can't force it, because I think that's probably what the Giants did back in 2019 when they took Daniel Jones at number 6. They forced it, even though they maybe weren't totally in love with the QB. So, Max, how are you feeling about that? Do you maybe see kind of an argument for trading down here, or maybe the Giants should have taken McCarthy at 6? Kind of what are you thinking?
Sorry, the Vikings just moved up. The Jags just switched.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm surprised by that one. I wonder what that's for.
They're probably going cornerback, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's
no corners off the board still, which is, again, important to note for the New York Giants, especially the fans who are hoping for cornerbacks to fall down the board. 17 here with the Jags trading down could definitely end up.
Or maybe it's the edge. It's the defensive alignment. It's the trench run right now. That might be what they're worried about. Byron Murphy was, some people had him going at 9 for the Bears instead of Ramon Tudze. So his draft stock just skyrocketed in that past week. Yeah. So Malik Neighbors is going to have an incredible career in the NFL. He's going to be around for a long time. He is going to be a New York Giant, you'd hope, for a very long time. He's an absolute stud, like, no question. Honestly, after Jane Daniels was off the board, he was my best player available, like, hands down. Joe Alt is going to have an incredible career. I think he's probably one of the most, like, surefire tackles in the past couple of drafts. But my God, Malik Neighbors is insane. Like, you're talking about IQ, you're talking about speed, you're talking about hands, you're talking about release, you're talking about the ability to catch through traffic, to catch contested catches. It's insane. Whoever throws to him doesn't matter. Like, you're going to have really productive season from Malik Neighbors. So the idea of trading down when you have a generational, I won't maybe generational, but sort of quasi-generational talent available makes it like you're going to say no, regardless of the package, right? Because you're going to have your own point system and you're going to have it up on your draft board. And regardless of how many picks somebody offers you, if that doesn't add up to whatever this guy matches, you're going to say no. And who's going to switch up there at 6, right? Because the Titans aren't going to take a quarterback. You think the Falcons might take a quarterback. So you're really only looking at potentially 2 teams that are willing to move up to 6 in order to get JJ McCarthy, because I don't think anyone was going to move up to take Michael Penix. I really don't. It was really who's going to take JJ, who's going to be able to move up to take JJ. So you were either looking at 9 for the Bears, because there was possibility that the Bears moved back there because they already got their quarterback and they probably could have taken their wide receiver, whoever, a little bit lower, or you were going to go up to 6. But you also knew that the Giants were looking to move up and take their own quarterback. So the Giants did a really effective job of throwing out the smoke screen of saying, like, hey, we're going to do all this stuff. And they didn't end up doing it. So I guarantee you that I won't guarantee you, but I'm thinking, looking at it from a perspective of what just happened in retrospect, maybe they were never intending on, trading back, or maybe they never intended on actually moving up all that much. Just because of how things shook out. Like, if I'm Joe Schoen and I'm Brian Daboll, I'm sitting in that room and I'm thinking to myself, wow, we just got ourselves a stud, right? Like, whatever we did worked. And yeah, maybe we didn't get the quarterback that we wanted, but guess what? There's always more quarterbacks. Next year's draft class right now isn't looking too stacked. But who's to say? Someone might step up. We didn't think that Jayden Daniels was going to be the 2nd overall pick a year ago.
Right.
Nobody thought that was going to happen.
The great point that I keep making on this show, because people said the same thing. What year was Joe Burrow drafted? Was that 2021 or was that 2020?
2020, I think.
That was the tank for Tua year. The year where everyone's like, you're tanking
right.
for Tua Tagovailoa. Right. And not only was he not the first quarterback selected, he wasn't even a top 2 quarterback in his draft class in terms of just success. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Right. Things change in a year. Rattler was a former first round kind of lock,
That's the point that I keep making on this show and any show that I appear on as a guest speaker. I always say the Giants can't plan ahead saying this next draft class is good or bad at the QB position, because you genuinely never know. I mean, I think that's the mistake that the Giants made in 2018 when they decided to go with Saquon Barkley. It sounds like Dave Gettleman was very confident that he would be able to get Justin Herbert in the 2019 NFL draft. Then Justin Herbert decided that he was going back to college because he wanted to play 1 year of football with his brother. So then Justin Herbert came out in 2020. The Giants took Daniel Jones in 2019. Had they not planned for a quarterback to come out who didn't come out, they would have probably been in a better situation taking a QB in 2018. So it's really impossible, in my opinion, to plan ahead for future draft classes. So you just have to take it each class at a time. And the Giants taking the best player available here with Malik Neighbors. Hopefully next year's draft class ends up being one of the ones that surprises us. Maybe someone does have a meteoric rise in draft stock with a dominant performance in the 2024 college football season, and then the Giants end up getting their guy next year. Maybe somebody shakes free on the free agent market. I know, surprising as it is, last night on the live stream, the Draft Eve live stream, there was a contingent of Giants fans pushing for Dak Prescott to be the New York Giants quarterback in 2025, which was really, really interesting to discuss last night. But it just all goes to show, and it's all in the same vein of saying you really don't know which quarterbacks are ever going to be available, and you can't plan ahead for future seasons at QB. And that's why, again, I think the Giants should have taken a QB if they had an opportunity to tonight. But again, they weren't in love with McCarthy, so I'm happy they didn't force it with him. They got Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be a tremendous talent. God, do I wish it was Drake May tonight. It wasn't, though. And I think we're going to go ahead in the future. And now we've got a WR1, and we can be excited about that.
It could always be worse. It came out. I don't know if you guys saw that the Falcons didn't give Kirk Cousins a heads up that they were even considering picking Penix.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
could be look, I'm not saying that Neighbors is there's no chance it doesn't work. There's no chance that we're going to be upset with how the season goes. Obviously, the Giants have not consistently strung together seasons that people are happy with or should be happy with. But again, if the draft, anything you're unhappy with the draft is out of the Giants' hands, right? You can't it would have been nice to have a better pick, but again, you can't be mad at players for not trying to lose. you're never going to convince a player to throw a game. That's just, you can't do that. You just can't. Like, they're just in this spot. And yeah, maybe next year someone becomes available. You never know. And maybe Neighbors takes that step forward in his rookie year as a contender for offensive rookie of the year. And you set yourself up where you add a quarterback to that situation. And we're talking about a contender in the NFC. Like, it just takes finding that quarterback. And it didn't happen this year, is what it is. You just can't cry over spilled milk. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah, 1000%. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about the Michael Penix pick some more because you were talking about Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
That's so bad.
I think what happened is, and I'm trying to justify it, and I guarantee you we are going to learn more about this. The press conference is going to be insane. I think what happened was Malik Neighbors was not supposed to go 6 on their board. I do not think the Falcons were prepared for the Giants to pick at 6 and to take Malik Neighbors. I think they took the bait, and I think that they thought it was going to be JJ, so that when Malik was off the board, they're like, oh, shoot. BPA, what do we do? Right.
Yeah.
So to me, that makes the most sense. We'll see, of course. The tweet that the source that you referenced said that Kirk understood that quarterbacks were in consideration. So to me, that says that they probably told him that we're going to take this guy, but then he wasn't available. And then they said, oh, no, we have to take Michael Penix, I guess.
That's possible as well.
So let's see.
One thing that you kind of mentioned there that spawned another idea in my head was, teams not expecting the Giants to go in a direction that they did. And that seems to be a trend under Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. This is now the 3rd draft with this regime. And if you think back on that 2022 NFL draft, everyone was saying that the New York Giants would not take Kayvon Thibodeau. Of course, they took him at number 5, but the whole narrative was that character red flags. They didn't interview him enough. They only had one meeting with him, decided they didn't like him. There was no way that they were taking Kayvon. They took him. Last year, they did all of that homework, extensive homework on every wide receiver possible. They had Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith and Jigba. They had Zay Flowers. All of these guys in for these numerous interviews just to go ahead and take Deonte Banks. And I know that the top 3 receivers went right ahead of Deonte Banks, but still, the Giants traded up a spot to take Deonte Banks. They could have traded up a few spots if they wanted one of those wide receivers. Now, again, this year, extensive work done on the quarterbacks, a lot of work done on J.J. McCarthy. They had the opportunity to draft him. They chose not to. There is a trend here now, a pattern, 3 years in a row, where the Giants scout a position and a player very heavily and then punt on the decision to take that player and move on and go ahead with another direction. And I think that is just really interesting. And I don't know if anybody has kind of a takeaway on that or a thought on that, but it is just a pattern that I've recognized and I see now. The Giants, maybe they're just really good at smoke screening the league. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe plans just don't fall the way that they want them to, and they've gotten bad luck 3 years in a row. I don't know what the takeaway is, but I do think it's interesting how much work they've done on prospects that they choose not to draft 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I want to comment on that because Schefter said multiple times that the Giants did approach the New England Patriots for number 3. And why it took so long for them to, deliver the draft card was that they received a phone call right before the draft. So it's not without trying. It's very evident. And I'm sure that we're going to hear, or we're going to get leaks, and, always take it with a grain of salt, and whether it was real or not, because we don't know for sure. We weren't on the phone call of what that offer was, but it's not without trying. But I think the Giants might just be good at smoke screens, or better, they might just be really good at setting up their draft boards. And it might just be a well-run drafting organization where if the guy that they really, really want, that they spend the most time on their homework on because they're just not entirely sure, so they need to do a little penciling. If the guy's not there, or if the guy that they really want's not there, they need to make sure that their guy, their check-in choice is really, the best option. That makes the most sense to me. Is why else would you spend that much time on J.J. McCarthy to look the other way? Well, because Drake May is going to be the guy, right? If he's not there, okay, let's fall back to our number 2, or fallback number 2, J.J. McCarthy. Spend some extra time there. Turns out we don't really like him that much. So let's just completely look the other way. And what's our BPA? Malik Neighbors. That makes the most sense. And that sounds like a well-run organization to me, right? Like that makes like a good drafting process.
Yeah, and I'm not someone who's gonna who's gonna sugarcoat things with the Giants. Like Anthony, we've had various conversations about the Giants and their situation, and I don't think my tone in those conversations have always been Mr. Positive and Mr. Optimistic. If you're looking at this draft so far and you're looking at the way that they've handled themselves today, and you are walking away critical of the Giants, it kind of feels like you're asking for them to do the impossible at this point. You know what I mean? Again, multiple articles have come out since the 3rd overall pick was made during the draft about how aggressive the Giants were trying to make that pick. I could, like, if there was something to rip them on, I'm sure it would have been done already. If there was something to genuinely rip them on, it wouldn't be hard to find. It has been hard to find. There's been countless moments where you start pulling your hair out. Drafting Malik Neighbors is not that moment. If you're anticipating every single time the Giants do something that you're going to need to pull your hair out, maybe that's not the healthiest way to approach sports. I'm very excited to see Neighbors play. And I was actually pretty sad at first because I'm just watching like Drake May go to the Patriots and hearing them talk about how awesome it is of a quarterback. And Marvin Harrison goes to the Cardinals and it's like, oh, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. And it's like, oh my gosh, you see all the Bears posts. I don't even follow them, and I'm seeing like 20 tweets from the Bears account about how awesome it is to have Caleb Williams. Obviously, I'm heartbroken. Like, I don't have a new quarterback, but I have a great wide receiver, and the team is better than what it was 24 hours ago, and it's not close.
Don't worry, those can't become memes and come back to bite you in 3 years. I've seen that in the past 6, so don't worry about it. It's not a bad thing. So yeah, it's a good thing. Those are good posts because Malik Neighbors is going to be a stud. We're still gonna have to watch Caleb Williams. Well, let's see.
Yeah, our resident Bears fan here is super happy about Caleb. And listen, I'm happy for you and for the Bears getting Caleb Williams. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, especially with the added talent. Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams is going to be a lot of fun to watch. But just on the note of Malik Neighbors, I think you do make a good point, though, Ryan. This team is going to be more fun to watch. Last season, I was really checked out at a lot of those Giants games. It was tough to watch the New York Giants play football, on offense in particular. And offense is more exciting than defense as just a baseline. Everybody loves watching offense play. It's flashy. It's fun. There was nothing flashy. There was nothing fun about the New York Giants offense in 2023. But one thing that I will say, the Giants were very bad about 10 to 12 to 8 years ago, right? They were losing a lot of games, but they did have a playmaker who was a lot of fun to watch in those losses, and it was Odell Beckham Jr. He at least made the Giants worth tuning in for each week. You know, even though you knew they were going to get like absolutely demolished by a team, right? There was a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We were talking about this on last night's live stream. Giants lost that game by like 14 points. But OBJ had 150 yards and a one-handed catch, so you had to tune in, and it was a lot of fun to watch. At least Giants fans can look forward to watching some fun talent on offense now. I think that's something that we can take away from this. The Giants are now a more fun team to watch because of Malik Neighbors, and so for that reason alone, yes, obviously I wanted the QB. I think that would have been the franchise-changing moment if they got Drake May or maybe even McCarthy, depending. But now the Giants are more fun to watch in 2024, so my life will be livable for the next 365 days, and I am very excited to watch Malik Neighbors catch touchdown passes.
And if you miss, you don't set your franchise back. I think that's the bigger thing is this kind of gives the Schoen regime a little more time, right? Like this gives Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen a little more time to say, okay, we're still rebuilding, guys. This is just another chip in this rebuild instead of going all in on a quarterback. So I think it makes sense. It's a smart move.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, if you can't ask an organization to draft a quarterback they don't fully believe in. Again, that's how you end up with Daniel Jones. Now, if the Giants really believed in JJ McCarthy, they would have taken him. They didn't. Like they could have explained it. The situation made sense. The quarterback situation was not good in New York. They would have had every reason to explain it away. It's not like the media would have crushed them for taking McCarthy 6 either. There is no inside pressure to have not taken McCarthy. Their evaluation just didn't deem that he was worth that pick. It's that simple. Like it's not like they were publicly bullied out of it. It's not like they felt like it was going to be too much. It's not like they felt like they couldn't or that they needed a different position group more. No, they quarterback was their number one need, and they didn't pick McCarthy. That tells you all you need to know. That's really it is what it is, right? You can't make an organization believe in a guy. You can't. You just can't.
Yeah. I mean, I believe in McCarthy, and that's unfortunate that the Giants don't as well. I would have loved to see him get picked in the first round by the Giants, but I think it's been clear for probably the last 3 months to everybody watching Fireside Giants how highly I thought of Malik Neighbors. I absolutely love the kid, and I think that he's going to be a superstar, and I'm super happy that he's here on the New York Giants. I'm probably going to get his jersey whenever he picks his number. He's not going to be wearing number 8, but whatever number he picks, I'll probably end up taking one of those jerseys home with me and being really happy about the selection and hoping that he has that instant impact like Odell did as a rookie. I mean, you got to draw the comparisons to Odell because this could have went one of two ways, right? Either the New York Giants, the last time they held the 6th overall pick was in 2019, they took Daniel Jones, or the last time they picked a wide receiver in the first round was Odell Beckham Jr. exactly 10 years ago on this date from LSU as well. So there was some sort of poetic irony here, no matter how it shaped out, and it just happened to be the playmaker route. I'm hoping that there is that instant impact the same way that that Odell Beckham Jr. had on the offense 10 years ago from Malik Neighbors. Now, again, probably won't reach the level of OBJ's rookie season because that was historic, but hopefully we get 1,000 receiving yards out of Malik Neighbors. We haven't had 1,000-yard receivers since Odell. 5 years. That's ridiculous. I mean, think about that. I think the statistic was only 2 teams in the playoffs last year didn't have 1,000-yard receiver, and I think over 20 teams in the NFL did have 1,000-yard receiver. So thinking about how the Giants were in that very small minority last season and how they've been in that minority for the last 5 seasons, this is one of the Giants' biggest needs. You know, I like this receiving core. I think Darius Slayton's a good player. I like Jalen Hyatt. I like Wan'Dale Robinson. But getting an alpha dog in there that can get 1,000 receiving yards in a season, definitely a huge plus, a very important moment for this Giants team, and a great draft pick in my eyes.
Yeah, and the excuses are gone at quarterback for the situation right now. If you can't make it work with Malik Neighbors, if you're not at least I would say if you're not around the 15th to 14th best quarterback in the NFL with Neighbors as your one, I really like. You don't. There's not saying that we don't know what we know about the quarterback position. We know it's a problem. If they don't, if Jones does not put up adequate numbers, it's just kind of almost like it's indisputable evidence. I think last year was indisputable evidence. I think his 5-year career has been, but there are still people who say you just got to give him a number one. The excuse is gone. Like, you have a true number one. I'm not saying win the MVP. You got to be adequate. I can't say, you can't be, he had a really good year and he threw 15 touchdowns. That's not going to work for me. It's not.
Right. No, I do completely agree with you. My only problem is, and it's not a problem with anything that you've said, it's just a problem with Giants fans where we've said this before. We've said no more excuses for Daniel Jones. Put up or shut up. Got to put up 20 touchdowns. Got to win games this year. We've said this for him so many times, and every single time, somehow, some way, there's a new excuse. So I wonder what it's going to be this year, because not to get too negative and pessimistic here, but
the O-line.
Right. It's always going to be, it's the offensive line. It's the playmakers. Last year,
he's only in year 6, guys. He's only in year 6.
Yeah, only year 6.
It's early.
We should give him another 4. Yeah. Now we're going to get really negative, and some people are going to jump out of the stream. But it's true, though, because it's been the same conversation and same narrative every single season. Last year, we said, we made this blockbuster trade. Darren Waller is a New York Giant, absolute steal. Daniel Jones has no more excuses. You know, Evan Neal should take a step forward. The offensive line should be better. And we have 1,000-yard potential receiver in Darren Waller. No more excuses. Somehow there were excuses. The excuse is, Darren Waller's washed up and he's cooked and he's not a good player. I don't believe that. I thought he looked pretty good out there on the field last year when he was healthy. I thought that the offensive line was bad for sure, but still manageable if you really needed it to be. But, I digress. This is just going to be a really interesting 2024 season as we get into another make or break year. I don't know how he's had so many make or break years without making or breaking, but another make or break year for Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors. Maybe he's the reason that Daniel Jones makes, or maybe Malik Neighbors doesn't get the targets and receptions and everything that we want him to, and he could be the reason ultimately that Daniel Jones breaks. And I think that's going to be really interesting. But you are right, Ryan. This selection should put things into perspective for the New York Giants front office and brass as to what their quarterback position truly is this upcoming season.
Yeah, and I this is me kind of now actually looking at the comment section for a little bit, and I know that I know that there's I mean, Kadarius Toney was drafted in the first round. He's a wide receiver. I think there's a difference between Toney and Neighbors in terms of just like overall public perception. Toney was considered a reach. It's all you could argue. Neighbors might like in a world in which like there is a world where Neighbors could have gone 4. There's a world where Neighbors could have gone 5, right? Like you'd almost consider the Giants fortunate to still have had him on the board at 6. Toney, you could have argued might have been in the second round. Maybe again, not as I don't think I am as invested in the draft as compared to you guys, because baseball's kind of always been my natural sport in terms of understanding it. But my understanding is that there are not even remotely similar prospects. Like it's not even close.
Toney and Neighbors?
Not close. From my understanding,
No, absolutely
I'm
not
trying
close.
to be as open as possible here. I'm pretty sure it's like a galaxy.
Yes, it is a galaxy. Kadarius Toney was somebody that you maybe take in the first round if you really see upside and potential. But I mean, in terms of productivity in college, Malik Neighbors in the SEC just put up 14 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, 70-something receptions. Like, it's not even comparable. Kadarius Toney had some tools, and you could see the potential with him. But no, you are right. In terms of polish as a wide receiver, in terms of size, strength, and athleticism, all of those things, Malik Neighbors clears the board not only of Kadarius Toney, but of so many wide receivers that have come out the last year. If this was last year's wide receiver class, we did a lot of conversations about Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jordan Addison. We really liked these guys. It's not even close. Malik Neighbors was the number 1 in that draft class as well. And if you compare Malik Neighbors to a lot of the receivers that came out in the draft class prior, and the one prior to that, and the one prior to that, he's probably number 1 in the majority of those draft classes. So, yeah, Malik Neighbors is a special talent. Anyone comparing him to Kadarius Toney, listen, Kadarius Toney had a lot of exciting potential, but he really was not even close to the prospect that Malik Neighbors is. Malik Neighbors should step into the NFL and day one be an absolute dog, potential 1,000-yard receiver, an alpha dog for an offense.
Totally. 1,000% I agree. KT was kind of like a gadget guy to begin with. I don't know. I wasn't really that high on him. So kind of not stunned. But shout out the Chiefs, I guess.
I will say
actually funny on that note though, real quick, I'll let you get into this. I saw that the Chiefs GM this week said that their best remaining wide receiver is Kadarius Toney on their roster. I thought that was hilarious, but
they're trying to justify their capital.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it is. I will say the pick is justified because he ended up helping the Chiefs beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So
exactly,
the trade is justified. The pick is justified. Everything shaked out in our favor. Of course, that's how we brought in Toney to help us beat the Eagles. Maybe he didn't directly do it, but I don't know. You can't really just that.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this bet slip of this guy that bet like $3,000 on Bo Nix going over pick 33. It just popped up on my Twitter. This is crazy. He's got like 7 individual slips and they're all over $500. What?
Wow.
That's crazy. Why would anyone do that?
Yeah. Bet responsibly. Bet smart with @Fireside Bets. Go ahead and follow @Fireside Bets for your follow @Fireside Bets for smarter bets than those ones. Because
this is huge. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who I just want to bring back to the general draft real quick. Very interesting team this offseason. I was really curious to see what they would do in the first round and what they would just do in the free agency in general. Obviously adding Russell Wilson, then bringing in Justin Fields. They just drafted Troy Fautanu out of Washington, which is a great pick, by the way. I think it's a fantastic pick because now you have a big anchor to help protect the guy
Justin Fields?
The legend, Russell Wilson.
Nah, Justin Fields, the franchise quarterback.
No. Soon to be, right? It just
Soon
makes
to be.
so much sense. I love that move. I mean, I'm taking my Bears cap off and putting on my Justin Fields stand cap because I will forever for the rest of my life. I love the move. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. And honestly, I feel like Pittsburgh is one of those organizations that just knows what to do. Like, I feel like they'll have one bad year every once in a while, but then they're going to pick it up and they're going to be right back in your face. And which kind of sucks.
It's true.
But it's awesome. Like, it's cool at the same time. I love seeing organizations at the top of their game. Because it's just, I don't know. It's like a North Star for everyone else to be like, wow, that is a class organization that just figures out how to get their shit done. So
it's true. It's true, and I wish that the Giants would operate in a more similar fashion to the Pittsburgh Steelers and hit on more of their draft picks like the Steelers. Steelers get a lot of value out of their mid-round picks. One thing that I will say, though, Steelers were a team that I thought could have went cornerback.
They didn't.
No cornerback selected yet. Cornerbacks continuing to fall down the board. So our narrative that we've been driving throughout this live stream and kind of just talking about this topic of discussion here, corners continuing to push down the board. Giants should have an opportunity to get some good talent tomorrow at the cornerback spot, maybe at 47, definitely if they decide to trade up. But one fear that I have here, we haven't seen a corner come off the board just yet. We've got 21 with Miami up next, 22 with Philadelphia, another team that needs a corner. I am going to be distraught if Philadelphia ends up taking Terrion Arnold or a really good cornerback. I'm going to be very upset with that. So
it's
that's
just
one
not
thing to
fair.
keep an eye on.
Every year they get like some insanely good defensive prospect to fall to them. It's like it's unbelievable. It's like last year. Like last year genuinely stunned me. Like I was just sitting there like, what are we doing? Somebody, please do something. Don't let this happen. It's unbelievable. Every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they did pick up some guys that had some pretty nasty locker room rumors and issues.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You know.
That's been a trend in the NFC East outside of the Giants, I guess. Michael Parsons had his problems.
Howie thinks that he can just handle his guys and teach them the Eagles way, which I guess is throwing your defensive coordinator under the bus and blaming an entire season on him for no reason. Sean Desai should get the hell out of Philadelphia because they did him so dirty, and that organization seems so toxic to me for what they did to their defensive core. Why would you give it to Matt Patricia? What has he done ever in his life?
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad, but we will say good thing they did that because they ended up losing.
Right, good thing they did that.
That was a big part of it. So
absolutely, good thing they did that. But yeah, no. I don't even think they're going to take Quinion if they do take a cornerback.
Arnold. They're going to take the SEC guy, right?
You think it's going to be Terrion Arnold, right? Which is going to be a bummer. But Kool-Aid, it's possible. I don't think he's the better cornerback at Alabama, but
Kool-Aid to the Giants. Maybe the dream is alive. We'll see.
It's possible. The Dolphins pick is in. The Jags, I think, go cornerback as well, by the way. And I also think that Green Bay looks at defensive line or potentially cornerback as well.
I think a corner run is on here, but we have crossed the 3-hour mark on this live stream. So I do think we are going to go ahead and start to wind it down here. I think we're going to wait for Philadelphia to make their pick just because I think that's relevant to the New York Giants. And we'll go ahead and end this live stream. But it has been a fun one, and I do want to once again thank everybody who's tuned in for the full 3 hours. I know some of you have been in here the whole time. Some of you have bounced in and out. Either way, you viewed for 1 second or 3 hours. I appreciate your viewership and support of the channel. But here we are, Dolphins pick in, then the Philadelphia Eagles. Ryan, I think you had something to say somewhere in there when we were kind of discussing cornerbacks. So what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. So, one kind of example in recent year drafts I was thinking of when it comes to like defensive players falling in kind of a situation you almost pray for the Giants. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I'm really bad at pronouncing names, so I'm sorry if I butchered that. He fell to the second round after being considered like he was. I remember coming out of Notre Dame like a pretty highly rated prospect. Obviously, I think it was the heart. There were heart issues, and that's obviously super concerning. Don't get me wrong, but they were able to get, a really strong linebacker in the second round. If the Giants find a way to get somebody who is relative to their position as good as Joker at the cornerback position to pair with Deonte Banks with the pressure they're going to get on their pass rush, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? That kind of this team could be a lot of fun to watch. Yes, they may still have a quarterback problem, but there is a chance, again, if you can build through the draft, if you develop your roster, that this team is going to be fun to watch. I think really that's just the bar at this point for Giants fans, for us at this point. We just want to watch games and be like, you know what? I enjoyed watching this game. Don't think anybody's going to cry when we don't win the Super Bowl next year, right? Like no one thought Super Bowl next year. I just want a watchable product. I just want to be able to watch games and feel like, you know what? These are players that are becoming parts of this organization and core piece of this organization for the foreseeable future.
No, I agree with you. And you make a good point, though, about players falling into the second round. Obviously, JOK is one to mention. But even for the New York Giants, Azeez Ojulari was somebody that in 2021 was mentioned with the number 11 overall pick to the Giants. Ended up falling into the second round. Giants traded down while he was on the board. Giants fans had a conniption. They ended up getting him anyway at number 50 overall. So you never know. Players do fall. And the Giants honestly have gotten pretty lucky the past few years with players falling into their laps, whether you're talking Azeez Ojulari back in 21, or if you want to mention John Michael Schmitz in the second round last year, or even Jalen Hyatt in the third round. Yes, they traded up for Hyatt, but the fact that Hyatt was available in the third round, Giants were pretty lucky for that considering how high they were on his talent. So hopefully we get a little bit of a repeat in this upcoming second round of the draft and maybe even third round as well. One thing that I will throw out there, in 2021, the Giants traded down, still got Azeez Ojulari. I know that we've kind of talked about the Giants maybe trading up, trying to get the cornerback that they really like tomorrow. I think that the Giants only holding 6 picks in this draft, sneaky team to trade down tomorrow in the second round. Moving down maybe 10 spots, picking up an extra third or fourth or even 7th round pick, whatever it is. I think that's a really good idea for this Giants team, which we've talked about. They need a lot of talent across the board, have a lot of holes on their roster. I could absolutely see the New York Giants trading down tomorrow. That's one thing that I'll be keeping an eye on. Of course, I'll be live once again here on the channel, so stay tuned tomorrow night, guys. If you're still viewing, I'll be here again, live streaming and reacting to the Giants picks. But I do believe that a trade down is definitely in the cards for the Giants tomorrow evening.
Chop Robinson goes to Miami, so no corner still. I imagine I'll change with Philly, but still no corner.
Hey, well, we can hope, right? We can hope that it's not a corner to Philly. I'm curious to see where the first corner gets taken, though, because this is a really strong cornerback class, and it's strong outside of the first round. That's something to note. Like, going into this draft, there were plenty of cornerbacks that were expected to be day 1/day 2 picks that maybe go into day 2 as talents that could potentially be first round caliber. And it sounds like that's going to happen. I don't know about you guys, but Cooper DeJean is definitely a first round talent to me. And he's got the broken leg. He's recovering from the broken leg. So we'll see where he goes. I fear that he's probably going to wind up in Philly with this next pick, but we'll see. But yeah, really talented cornerback class. I think that the Giants are sitting pretty here going into day 2 with cornerbacks continuing to be pushed down the board.
I also want to say that maybe, maybe they don't want to, but you could double up on wide receiver here because this is an incredibly deep class and you still have guys that are available. We're talking Xavier Legette. We're talking Xavier Worthy. We're talking Ladd McConkey. We're talking Adonai Mitchell. We're talking Keon Coleman. These guys are waiting. And if some of these late firsts don't end up taking them off the board, you'd have to imagine they're going to go relatively quickly in the second because these are still game changers. These aren't your average typical day 2, day 3 wide receivers. Yeah. This is an incredibly stacked class. These are names that you're probably going to be talking about for a while. So you're just sitting pretty if you have a lot of day 2 picks. It's probably a really good draft for you. So I just saw a report that the Texans were trying to move up into the first round. I'm not sure why, but if they're able to consolidate, if the Giants are able to trade up or even trade back from 47 and just get a couple more second round picks or a couple of thirds or a couple, handful of thirds, 3rd and 4th, like why not? It just makes a ton of sense to me. This class is so deep. And it might fall that way. It's what it's looking like.
No, you do make.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You do make a good point, though, in terms of potentially doubling up at wide receiver, especially with Darius Slayton holding out of voluntary workouts. Maybe the Giants do consider taking another wide receiver at some point in this draft, adding extra talent to this position group and really bolstering this offense and giving Daniel Jones even less excuses. But Ryan, I'll let you jump back in before I, continue that thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it was mentioned like the receiver class, how deep it is and how like outside of there's still a lot of really good names on the board. I think this also bodes well for the Giants' chance of getting a corner because a lot of the teams in the late first round were like a lot, or especially a lot of the contenders were projected to pick up receivers. The Bills, the Chiefs, the 49ers have been some buzz about potentially them going at receiver, especially if they trade one of Ayuk or if they go the trade route of trading Ayuk. There is a chance that the Giants end up in a really good spot here at corners because again, I think that there's going to be a corner selected. It's a matter of when, not if in the first round, but they might end up, and the Ravens are the team where like, I mean, if you're the Ravens, wouldn't you want to take advantage of a deep receiver class? It's not like you would sit here and say they have a definitive, like just straight up dominant number one option, no doubt about it. I don't know. I feel like this is the latter stages of the first round, depending on where the Eagles go here, this is going to bode really well for the Giants. Like I'm stunned that there's no corner taken off the board yet. Like stunned.
I am too, because it is such a strong cornerback class. One name that I'll throw out there, wide receiver wise, it's been a while since we've had a wide receiver. It's been since Odunze, right? At 9. We've gone all this time and we've talked about how deep of a wide receiver class this is. I think teams recognize how deep of a wide receiver class it is, and they're willing to wait until day 2 to take some of these talents. And maybe, you can tie that into a conversation about the Giants selection, whatever. I don't want to go that route. What I do want to go, where I do want to go with this is, now we're getting into the final 10 picks of the first round. There has to be a run on one position group, and it's either going to be corner or wide receiver to me. And whichever one it is definitely influences what the Giants do tomorrow, because we could see a run on cornerbacks to finish this first round. We could see a run on wide receivers, and I think it'll have a really interesting effect. One thing that I want to throw out there, just kind of like for fun, just to kind of continue this draft pick hit rate that I have. I had Dallas going Brian Thomas Jr. in one of my mock drafts. Brian Thomas Jr. goes much higher than 22 in most mock drafts, 24, wherever Dallas is. I think Brian Thomas Jr., sneaky pick to Dallas there at 24 overall, LSU wide receiver, if you don't know.
Makes sense.
They have a low-key need at wide receiver. Nobody has them taking one. I think that we could potentially see another receiver go within the division in the first round, and that's something to keep an eye on as we get into these final picks here in the first round. But we are planning on wrapping it after this Philadelphia pick. They've got 1 minute left on the clock on my screen. I'm not sure on my screen. I'm not sure if you guys
pick is in.
Pick is in for you. So we'll see that soon. We'll react, and I got to imagine that it's going to be a corner.
I like Brian Thomas to the Bills, by the way. I think Brian Thomas Jr. makes a lot of sense.
It's going to be interesting to see where these guys go. But again, I think there's either going to be a run on corners or receivers. But whichever way it goes, there's going to be a lot of talent left over in round 2 tomorrow, and the Giants are going to have a long night ahead of them to plan ahead and think maybe we do double up at a receiver, maybe we move up for corner, maybe we move down because so much talent has been pushed down the board. Things could get really interesting as a result of these final 10 picks here for the New York Giants heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, no one's taking Spencer Rattler. What's up with that? Why is he still on the board? The fix is in. It's very, very clear something odd is here. Okay, so we're still waiting for the Philadelphia Eagles to announce their pick. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. They moved.
Yeah. Also, are you guys seeing how many people are in the Eagles draft room? That's got to be 30 people in that draft room. Why do they have so many people in there? I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
The fix is in.
The fix is in. And the unfortunate news.
Oh, is the pick in? Do you know the pick? You can go ahead and tip it. I'm fine with that.
The pick is Toledo cornerback Quinyon Mitchell.
See, this is exactly what Ryan is saying. There's always just this defender that's supposed to be like a top 10, top 15 pick. Just some way falls into the lap of the Eagles. This is like peak Philadelphia to piss off a Giants fan. I am not happy about this.
They just take the top defensive player available is what they've done consistently.
It's crazy.
Let's see.
PFF ranked him as the 9th best player on their board. They had his 25th percentile outcome in terms of like draft outcomes at 17. So this is like, according to their models, like a 10th percentile, 5th percentile outcome for him. Like one of the worst case scenarios possible for his stock. And of course, the cards turn the Eagles' way.
Always do. It always happens to be that way.
Well, now you just hope that the Jaguars don't take Terran Arnold to fill their main need, which is cornerback.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. The Jags might have played this incredibly well, but again, there's still hope. for the Giants here. We'll see how the rest of this round goes.
I actually think the Jags are going to go receiver. I think the Jags might take Brian. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is either going Jacksonville or Dallas. We'll see. You know me, Max. We've talked about this, obviously. I'm way lower on Brian Thomas Jr. than most people are. I don't think he should be taken in the first round. Someone's about to take him within the next 5 picks, though, probably. And it's probably going to be Jacksonville or Dallas. But, yeah, interesting to see, of course, once again.
Here's how to spin this. This is why the Eagles took Mitchell, is because they're terrified of Malik Neighbors. They are so afraid of Malik Neighbors that they decided that they needed to take Mitchell, who's not as fast, is just not as good, by the way. I don't know why everyone's so obsessed with this kid from the MAC. Who is he lining up against? Like that guy you knew in high school? Like I don't understand. But that's just me.
No, I actually do agree with you. I think that the hype on Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo is a little bit overblown, like to take him over a tried and true Alabama product like Terry and Arnold. But all right, maybe there's some bias, whatever. But I know everybody loves the way that he played at the Senior Bowl, but I do agree with you. And I like the narrative. I think it's a good way to spin it. The Eagles made this pick as a response to the New York Giants first round draft pick. Malik Neighbors is already instilling fear into the hearts of NFC East defenses.
He's rent-free in Howie's head.
Absolutely love to see. Exactly. So that's what we love to see. But this is a good ending point, in my opinion. 3 hours, 15 minutes in. Eagles just made the pick. We could wait out for Dallas. I don't care enough to, so we're going to go ahead and call it a night. I haven't had dinner. I am starving, and I'm starving for more touchdowns in 2024, and hopefully my boy Malik Neighbors delivers those. But, Ryan, I'll let you send off the people first, tell them where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Ryan Garcia ESM, and if you guys want me on daily podcasts, you can see me at Fireside Yankees on YouTube. We have all the same social media as Fireside Giants does: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you guys can check us out there. And yeah, at Ryan Garcia ESM on Twitter. Go Yankees!
Yes, sir. Lots of fun having you on, Ryan. I want to have you on more Fireside Giants stuff. We got to build this chemistry. We have very similar opinions here on our New York Giants, so we got to do some more discussion episodes about that. But Max, thanks for joining us, our fellow Bears companion here. Super happy with the way your first round went, but where can the people find you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, you can find me on at BearsMax on Twitter, where I occasionally post.
Really good time for your mic to cut out, Max. Classic send-off. All right, so follow him on at BearsMax on Twitter and check him out occasionally whenever he makes his random guest appearances here on Fireside Giants. Of course, guys, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I know many of you were in here for the full 3 hours. Those of you who were in here for that time, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate all the support here at Fireside Giants. The 20K special that we posted earlier this week, you guys absolutely smashed it. Ton of viewership. The watch time was super high on that. We really do appreciate you guys, and we thank you so much for all of the love and the support. And as we wrap this thing up, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you're listening to our show on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. Without further ado, we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.